really controlled by Democrats right now, but I was really shocked that all 14 of them actually did a no vote on nothing more than a resolution honoring and supporting police.
And on the converse side of that, Tom, and I suspect that most of your street level criminals anywhere, they're probably not watching C-SPAN to see how the votes on resolutions went in Washington, D.C. But does this trickle down to messaging to those who cause problems? I mean, right now you got all the activists attacking law enforcement. They are watching politics. So we've talked about the messaging that's received from within the law enforcement community. What about the message received by those who would be attacking law enforcement? And again, basically your street level guy who wants to knock over a liquor store, probably not keeping track of HR or whatever resolution, this, that, and the other. They're not tracking that sort of thing. But the message does get down to agitators.
Yeah, for sure. It already get like for example, individuals that are criminals or committing crimes these days, they fight with police all the time. They flee from police. You see it every day. Foot pursuits, car pursuits, because there's no accountability. And when you feel there's no accountability, these criminals feel there's no accountability, they're going to walk out the door, even if they do get arrested, which they do in Illinois. You get arrested on many of these, felony crimes, and you get a notice to appear, and you leave the police facility or you leave first appearance court, and then you have this type of resolution that only supports the fact that the police have no authority. That's that type of atmosphere. Oh, nothing's going to happen to us. Nobody's really supporting the police here in Illinois. Even the politicians don't support the police. They're not passing these type of legislation to support the police or even help the police. That does trickle down. It trickles down to where we're not listening to you. Chaos takes place. Lawlessness takes place. You can see it in street takeovers, pursuits. They said in Illinois that the police pursuits is up 180%. I mean, they flee because they feel nothing's going to happen to them.
Yeah. All right, Tom, where do we read the letter and follow the work that you're doing? I mean, because I know it's been published a number of places, but people want to get in touch, follow what you're doing because you're doing the national stuff in addition to the Illinois stuff. What's the best way?
Yeah, the best way is to go to Awake, Illinois. I serve as I was appointed as a fellow of law enforcement for Awake, Illinois. They post all of my stuff there. They have a blog there. If you know Shannon, she's a great individual. So they do that. And I also serve as on the advisory council for Citizens Behind the Badge, which is an organization out of McLean, Virginia, a national organization that advocates for police and policing. So either of those entities are great resources for anything that I'm either putting out or posting.
All right, I'll go ahead and say it for the first time here. Send in that bump music request for 80s Flashback Friday, which is coming up here, obviously, in just a couple of days. What do you want to hear? Email Jerome or send him a note on social media. This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Talk about race relations.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
And I'm sick and tired of it.
101.9 and 94.1.
I find it to be a conversation starter.
News Talk STL.
Looking for a fresh eating alternative for you and your family? Head on over to CJ's Restaurant and Bar in O'Fallon. CJ's literally offers something for everyone, from young to old. We're a casual American eatery with a wide-ranging menu of pastas, salads, and sandwiches, all served in a comfortable, warm environment with a family-friendly atmosphere. From vegetarian options to hearty classics. We offer dine-in, carry-out, catering, and even have a banquet room for your special events. Come see us or visit us on the web at cjsofallon.com.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
When the storm hits and a tree comes down, you need someone you can trust right now. OLI Outdoor Services in Godfrey is on call 24/7 for emergency tree removal, trimming, stump grinding, and land clearing. Serving Illinois and Missouri with licensed, insured professionals and over 200 years of combined experience. Tree removal starting at just $2.99. Free estimates, plus financing. Visit OLIOutdoorServices.com or call 1-888-5-SAWING.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rates you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, as I just mentioned, Darren Bailey, running for governor of Illinois, going to be with us at, 7:35. I think we've got him on here.
That's going to be a great discussion.
It's going to be a lot to cover, a lot to cover. Did you see that J.B. Pritzker got mad at President Trump? And it's like, keep Chicago's name out of your mouth. And then you see all these people on social media. They beat me to it. I wish I could take credit for it. A bunch of people were like, how about you keep 3/4 of the stuff you put in your mouth out of your mouth?
Oh, wow.
It was a fat joke. We did it again. All right. Anyway,
He's fat. He's fat.
Okay. So, by the way, pro-life friends, tonight is the big night. Missouri Right to Life. Make Missouri pro-life again. Banquet, the event tonight with Riley Gaines. I'm going to be there. Susie's going to be there. So you see us, please come say hi. So we'll be there. I mean, there's going to be like 1,100 people there or something like that. But you know, you'll see us. We're around.
Susie and Mike are nice. They won't bite.
No, we won't. We won't bite at all. All right, 5:54. So we just got a couple minutes here. Real quick, obviously, you've been commenting a lot about the Thomas Massie race. Thomas Massie lost pretty wide margin, like almost 10 points last night. So this, a lot of people are reflecting on, okay, well, why did it happen? Obviously, President Trump basically ordered the troops in to defeat Thomas Massie. And so I'll give you the platform here because, Thomas Massie, I think everybody agrees. Michael Knowles had an interesting commentary on this late last night. Thomas Massie's voting record among, if not the most conservative across the board. Now, there's some things I disagree with him on, but they're across the board. But he got into it with President Trump. And so Trump basically is eliminating people who aren't loyal to him. Thomas Massie has faults. There's some things he's done last couple weeks. I'm like, well, you brought some of that on yourself, dude. But your thoughts on it?
So I watched his concession speech. It was, I think, very well done, very classy. Massey's kind of a classy guy. His concession to special ed, I think, is very symbolic of quite a few things. It shows, one, you can just throw money at something. If you have enough money, you can just get your way with things. To a lot of the youth, and the youth are who, I think, when you look at the breakdown of it, people under 50 were the ones that were the biggest Massey supporters. And I think it's because a lot of us, when you look at his policy and his consistent voting record, he's the kind of guy we were hoping Trump was going to be part two. And so, surprisingly, some of the people I know that are the most worked up right now are the people that got me on the MAGA train back in 2024, that this has been a very disappointing direction to take this. Now, in terms of what we do going forward, I guess it means we just have to step in line.
I mean, that's basically what the message to Republicans. I don't normally after the midterm elections, it's a lame duck period. The Trump presidency is so unusual. I don't know that there is. I mean, he's endorsing in the Texas race, which he's literally endorsing a challenger to a loyal He's basically throwing a loyalist under the bus there. So the bottom line is, it's not about the ideology or the conservatism or the principles.
Being a rubber stamp.
Yeah, it is about how much do you support the president as a person. That's really what it comes down to. So, I mean, a lot of people will say that's good. I would rather the constitutional principles be what's involved. But, there was a clear message sent, and Donald Trump still runs the entire Republican Party unilaterally. That's what we learned last night.
And we're just preparing for 2028 now.
For 140 years, Moolah Shrine has been bringing men together from all walks of life for one simple mission: having fun and helping kids. You've seen the little yellow cars at parades. That's us, the YOMO unit. The St. Louis Shriners Hospital has delivered world-class care to children in our community for over a century, regardless of a family's ability to pay. Becoming a Shriner is easier than you think, and it'll be one of the best decisions you ever make. Visit beashrinernow.com. That's beashrinernow.com.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
Dozens of out-of-state law firms are crashing into St. Louis trying to get your business. My advice, rely on a hometown firm. Under Law has been here for years. There are lawyers raising their families right alongside yours. And when you're injured by someone's careless actions, you are entitled to full compensation. You want lawyers who will not bend to big insurance, but will stand defiantly protecting you. Under Law, O-N-D-E-R, underlaw.com. Under wins.
Missouri's laws are clear. Unregulated gaming devices are illegal. Companies have been telling businesses that gray market machines are legal. That's wrong. Don't be scammed. If you have these devices at your business, you could be subject to criminal and civil penalties. Unplug and remove these devices today.
If you've been approached to host illegal game machines, call now. 800-523-1434 or visit ago.mo.gov. Sponsored by the Attorney General's Office.
Lower your car payment today. Lower your car payment today. Yes, you heard us right. You can lower your car payment right now by making this free call and save up to $1,400 a year on your current car payments. Think about your current car payment right now. What's that costing you per year? Now think about what it would be like to put an extra $1,400 back in your pocket. That's the average savings our customers experience. We can help you drive the same car and pay less every month by lowering your car payment's interest rate to as low as 4.67%. At Rate Genius, we can work with you to refinance any car payment. If you qualify, it costs you nothing to find out how you can lower your car payment. To learn more, call this number right now.
800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. 800-493-5670. That's 800-493-5670.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Thomason. Although he wasn't running, candidates he endorsed were, and President Trump fared quite well in yesterday's Republican primaries in a half dozen states, perhaps the highest profile contest, a GOP House race in Kentucky.
I have called and conceded the race.
Republican Congressman Thomas Massie has criticized the Iran war, pushed for the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and voted against President Trump's big tax bill last year, repeatedly drawing comments like this Tuesday.
Thomas Massie's a terrible congressman. He's been a terrible congressman from day one.
And a Trump-backed primary challenger, Ed Gallerine.
I want to thank President Trump for his support, his endorsement, and his counsel
Massey, the latest Republican lawmaker to lose after being declared disloyal by the president. I'm Ben Thomas.
7 out of 10 Republicans surveyed for new AP Norc poll approve of the way the president's doing his job. He gets generally high marks for his conduct of the Iran war and immigration. Wildfires are firing up again in Southern California. 17,000 homeowners under evacuation orders as the Sandy fire burns in the hills above Simi Valley, northwest of Los Angeles. Crews are also fighting a 23-square-mile blaze on Santa Rosa Island off the Southern California coast. At last word, there was zero containment of that blaze. The 2 teenagers who shot and killed 3 people in an attack on a San Diego mosque were radicalized online where they first met. That's according to investigators. Investigators say they left behind hateful writings that targeted various races and religions. Watching Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures 92 points higher. NASDAQ futures up 197 points. The S&P futures better by 26 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, if your loved one is aging but still mobile, still values their independence, there's a simple tool that keeps them safe and keeps you in the know. I am proud to tell you about Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. Safety Plus is a wearable device that alerts you immediately if your loved one has had a fall. They can wear it as a necklace, on their belt, but there's even a great watch option. There's even a simple push button on the device allowing mom or dad instant access to emergency services. As you age, it's not like you plan for a fall. Suddenly your knee might lock up. There's an uneven surface, wet floor. There's simply no excuse to not wear something discreet that keeps you safe and can keep you at home longer. That's Safety Plus by Connected Caregiver. To see if you qualify for a free device, call 888-870-8020, 888-870-8020, or visit ccgoffer.com, ccgoffer.com. Again, 888-870-8020. With Connected Caregiver, peace of mind is just a phone call away.
The latest on a
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers. Once again, temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continue to rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Alan Link, owner of the Dental Link. You've heard ads about teeth in a day, but did you know that you will be chewing on plastic, acrylic teeth? Here at the Dental Link, we can give you porcelain crown and bridge teeth utilizing mini dental implants that function much more like real teeth at about half the cost. Plus, mini dental implants are less invasive, less painful, and your recovery time is much shorter. Give us a call at 314-794-6464 or simply visit us today at thedentallink.com.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story. May 2011, a major outbreak of tornadoes. Hardest hit, Joplin.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Okay, the data center thing. We're not done with it.
Of course we're not.
We're not done with
We've
this.
only just begun.
Okay, so the big story in April, one of the big stories in April, is that voters tossed 3 Festus City Council members out on their keisters who had supported the data center. I think wasn't there actually 4 who were voted out, but one of them was like a casualty. He's like, I didn't vote for it.
Right.
And you just threw us all out no matter what. Well, that leaves the other 3 council members who were not up for re-election, and then the mayor who was not up for re-election.
Right, but was facing potentially a recall.
He is now facing a recall.
I haven't read ahead here.
And so is every other member of the council in Festus. The ones who were
really mean it.
Yeah. So and then this is before we even get into the St. Charles City thing that happened last night as well. As a matter of fact, let's just do that because that's just going to take a couple of minutes here. 6:06, by the way. We got Susie here and Jerome here, and my name's Mike, and the St. Charles City, we're talking about city, not the county, but the city council last night voted pretty overwhelmingly. There was only one vote against this, but they voted overwhelmingly to essentially ban the construction of any data centers ever, like permanently within the city limits. And so the way that they did that, the way that I'm understanding their ordinance, is essentially having to do with defining what's going to be allowed in different zoning things and warehouses and all that kind of stuff. But the point is that they have said we will not allow data centers to be constructed in the city limits of St. Charles City. Now, there are some parts of St. Charles City that are not developed and built that would have been candidates for something like this, but they have said no. And this goes on because, remember, they had recently passed basically a 1-year moratorium that did that, 2-3 months ago, something like that. And they did 1-year moratorium basically saying, okay, everybody cool your jets. Let's have a conversation about it. And then we'll revisit after we have hearings and conversations and learn more, which actually is not a bad approach at all. But last night, under a lot of pressure from people in the city, the council voted overall saying, okay, you can build it, you just can't build it here. We're not going to deal with it. Wash our hands of it.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So the city of St. Charles, unless there is some lawsuit at some point challenging that ordinance, they will not have any data centers in the city.
Interesting. I mean, I think that you can probably attribute that to reading the room.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the public sentiment, at least the public comments and pressure, were clearly one direction on this.
Yeah. And that's been pretty much across the board. The fire, the activism is on the anti-data center side of things.
Right.
Is it all warranted? Is there maybe a little bit of alarmism? I feel like there might be some element of that. I'm not exactly sure to the extent that's maybe being ginned up or is not organic. I'm not sure who's motivated by that, who's motivating that. But, if you're an elected leader of a municipality and the vast majority of your residents say, no, we don't want this, even if you think it might be good for the community, I mean, you really do have to weigh that, particularly if you want to continue being in that role.
Right.
Our friend Jeff from Facebook, just lost the comment here, is asking, could you please educate me? What is supposed to be so wrong about data centers? How much is true and how much is propaganda?
Yeah, see, the true and propaganda,
question.
that's the
Very good
billion-dollar question at this point, because let me hold that over, because we talk about what's happening in Festus now, is that the folks who were upset and motivated enough to throw out every single member of the county council who was up for election this year, and it was 100% over the data center thing.
Oh, yeah.
Now they have filed 4 recall petitions with Jefferson County, which is where you go through on these things. The county clerk says, okay, they've got 10 days now to verify the signatures, but the county clerk told the local reporters on this, she goes, it sure looks like they've got it, but we'll get back to you in about a week and a half while we verify the signatures, but it looks like they've got enough to put this on the ballot. And so every member who's supposed to be up for election, I guess it'd be next year in April, they are likely going to face a recall vote in November. And the mayor is going to be facing a recall vote in November as well, assuming that all the enough signatures are verified, which appears to be the case. And so it was Jeff, right? To Jeff's question, what's so bad about it is I do think there is I think there is a lot of, ginned up kind of contagious fear of these things, but there are legitimate questions too.
Yes.
The water usage thing is a massive, massive question. Now in Festus, they were talking about like building its own, like water tank, water tower type thing. And also with the data centers, you come in, essentially you're talking about massive construction projects. You are talking about a lot of tax revenue, and that's what a lot of these folks get elected looking at, going, boy, we'd really like some parks, and man, we wouldn't have to worry about buying new police cars, and this alone would be this.
They're looking at the financial incentives.
Right, and that's what they're looking at, because remember, almost, other than the city of St. Louis, generally speaking, these are volunteer positions, although there's probably a little stipend for most of them. When I was on the Board of Aldermen in Grandview, I think we got like $100 a week or something like that. It was, it was.
I'll buy a couple cups of coffee.
Yeah, and it was basically, we know you're going to put about 10 hours a week into this. Here's a little stipend. It's not enough to change your lifestyle by any means. And there may be a lot of them, they don't get paid at all, but we got a little tiny stipend on it. The mayor of the town I was in, he was basically at a part-time job is what it was. But that doesn't change the fact that when you're elected, you put your hand up, you're saying, okay, I'm going to be held accountable for these votes. And people are really angry in Festus because they don't want, to Jeff's point, they don't want the data center, period. And the thing is that with any development, there's going to be some good and there's going to be some bad. With the data center thing, you've got questions about the energy usage.
Mm-hmm.
And no one has been able to explain to me how a data center is going to raise everybody else's rates unless there's just an agreement that the public utilities or the monopoly utility agrees to subsidize their usage. It would just seem like if they build this great big thing, you got to pay your own bill just like everybody else does, but that's one of the things that's in question.
And this is ignorance on my part, but one of the impressions I've gotten is that the concern is that the draw on it basically, you have essentially a finite supply of energy.
Right.
So the increased demand from that particular project might then make it more scarce.
Well,
does that make sense?
It makes
I know it's
sense.
kind of awkward in that economic framework, but
Yeah.
it seems to me like that, like the demand and the increased usage, the concern is that is going to then, as a secondary or tertiary effect, raise the rates.
And solar panels aren't going to cut it?
No, nor are wind turbines, apparently.
Maybe we could figure out some like water turbines, I guess. But so I rent, and my water bill is based on the entire usage of everybody in the unit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, fortunately, my electricity is only on my consumption. But just like what Susie was saying, I think that is a very real concern. Is not only we already see with the electric vehicle failures that we have brownouts and blackouts in some parts of the nation for overstressing the grid because we have not developed that much. But now you're going to give. Because I don't know if there's anybody that really competes with Ameren in the area, but you're going to give them something to say, well, we are using all this electricity over here. It's more expensive. It's more scarce. So now we need to boost your prices up if you want to have more access. Or during peak hours, we're going to raise your rates.
Right. So again, that's me spitballing on it and not really having the firm foundation about what the actual issue is. So somebody much more versed in that area would be better to address it. But I feel like that's what people's sense of this may be.
Right.
A, it's going to, make things more expensive for us. B, are there environmental impacts of this? Is there going to be a noise issue? Is there going to be,
See, the noise thing I think is legit.
I've seen videos
that
of
that concern, that's legit.
right? And is there some, concern about? Are some people concerned about like what sort of radiation it might emit, or people are worried about 5G.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, 5G, if you get close enough to it, does damage your DNA. Like they have special hazmat suits to handle
Right.
that.
So I'm wondering if some people are internalizing that and thinking data center might have similar hazards associated with it. Maybe it doesn't at all. But what I'm saying is, I feel like some people might have that in the back of their minds. Like, is there some sort of, something that's being emitted from these places because they are such an energy, concentrated area that could affect the people around it, like power lines.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, and I've seen people posting videos of the ones where it's like, hey, we've lived here forever. These are popping up now, and here's the effects we're seeing. I don't know how legitimate it is, but there is something to be said to that point.
Right. I think some of it may be lore and maybe kind of mythological, but I do think that could be driving people's fears and concerns.
See, and that's the thing is a lot of times when you get something, and this is probably one of those things that when you do like on Mondays, we're like, what was in the news a year ago, 5 years ago, whatever. We're going to look back at something and go, oh yeah, data centers, that was a big deal. Man, people were freaked out over that. Right. I think but here's the thing is a lot of times you take something where you've got really legitimate concerns, and then it kind of becomes a contagion, and people run with it, and the momentum builds up. And that's not to undermine some of the legitimate concerns. I would have questions,
right?
As well. I mean, I don't live in a city where they're talking about building one. Just so it's not that close to me, but it's close enough to where I see what's happening with it. So, but there are benefits and there are costs,
right,
with anything else on there. And so I've been in elected office. I can see the temptation. Somebody comes in and says, listen, we're going to buy this land. We just need a zone for this industrial thing. And then, here's what the tax revenue is going to be. And they're not really, some of them are asking for like tax breaks and things, but some of them aren't. I mean, we're talking these tech companies, global conglomerate thing. This is pennies to them.
Right.
But it's manna from heaven from a city official or a city manager who looks at all
the revenue stream,
all the revenue stream on this. And then other people are saying, especially if you've got a home that you're going to be pretty close to it. I have a lot of questions myself as well.
Sure.
I don't know that answers Jeff's question, but I don't think we have the questions.
Maybe it helps him feel like he's not alone.
Right. Yeah.
In having the questions. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think Vicky says it best when she says, sick of businesses getting corporate welfare.
Oh, yes. 100%.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Mike was talking about contagion. We want a different kind of contagion. The ideas, the thoughts about what you might want for bumper music. Or bump music, not bumper music. Because Friday is coming up.
What does that make today then?
Bump Day! And so we want you to get your requests in to Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
To give me more information.
Morning people are good, pure, moral, honest, hardworking, and upright. Night people are bad, immoral, dishonest, lazy, and downright.
Stop right now. I have had enough of this. You're indifferent.
Where did that liner come from?
From the great Larry Connors.
Oh, my goodness. All right. You know what other things that morning people benefit from? You get to be first in line when you get that treat. And I'm talking about Mario's Donuts, people. Mike Ferguson here for Mario's Donut Restaurant. Mario'sDonutRestaurant.com. That's the website. Listen, they're open. Put them right in your maps, and you can get there before the rush gets in. There have been times where I have learned that particularly on Wednesdays when somebody talks about Mario's, that you go in there and if you're too late, then they have sold out of some of their freshly made donuts and pastries right there. But if you're also saying, but Mike, aren't you the healthy food guy? Yes, but even I can have a treat every once in a while. You can have a donut. It's not going to kill you, especially one like Mario's. Listen, everybody here will vouch. We get Mario's about once a week, but every once in a while, somebody brings in donuts from somewhere else. Hey, the donuts, they're tasty, but they're just not the same. It's just not as good. But Mario's also has all kinds of food. They've got a complete menu. It's available at mariosdonutrestaurant.com. Everything from, your eggs and your wraps and your omelets to tiramisu and dinner. You name it, they can do it for you. So check it out. They got a cool coffee shop there too. Donut and coffee shop. Hang out. Have a cup of coffee, visit with friends, enjoy some time there, right there on Mugie Road. But just put in Mario's Donuts. It'll take you right there on your maps. MariosDonutRestaurant.com. Just don't eat all the ones with the sprinkles because those are my favorites because sometimes I have the sweet tooth of an 8-year-old.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Never paint again with Rhino Shield. Listen to what a couple of happy customers have to say.
My family's business is over 10,000 square feet, and it did not have the curb appeal I wanted. Our building was really faded. You came out, you gave me all of these options that would fit my building. I don't want to have to paint my building again. 25 years is a long time to not have to worry about the outside maintenance of your building as far as paint. That's a no-brainer. That's why Rhino Shield worked for me.
What a wonderful job they did. It's beautiful. They were very thoughtful, kind, considerate guys. Appreciate all the work that these two young men did.
Call Rhino Shield, 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't hate, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I don't feel safe in this world no more. I don't want to die in a nuclear war. I want to sail away to a distant shore and make like an ape man. I'm an ape man, I'm an ape man, no, I'm an ape man.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the Morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
Okay, I'm going to start off asking a really, really weird question, and I'm not trying to be funny here. Okay.
Okay.
Is there a connection between anti-Semitism and the attack on the mosque? Okay, that question in and of itself just doesn't make any sense sonically or grammatically or content-wise. But there's a connection.
Yes, and it could make sense.
Yeah. And so we mentioned this yesterday that we there's a lot more we don't know about this attack on this Islamic Center in San Diego. We know, basically, I think we left it off yesterday, Susie, basically saying what we don't know essentially dwarfs what little we do know about what happened out there. So a couple minor things, like, for instance, the last name of one of the attackers, it was being reported was Velasquez. It's Vasquez.
Mhm.
So, okay, so we got that correction. But there's and I saw Stacy's article on RedState. I also looked up some of the local coverage in San Diego on this. There was an extensive manifesto.
Yes.
That's being reported to have been found. Law enforcement says they found it. There is an activist who has done work with some national groups, conservative groups.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she's obtained it, and she says it's over 70 pages long. I don't know anything about this activist who's posted about it on social media, but so essentially she's putting screenshots out. So for the sake of discussion, it appears that she's got the manifesto. I just want to couch this by saying I can't vouch for her directly.
And I can vouch for her indirectly.
Yeah.
She is actually known to my boss and to other coworkers. They've actually met her, worked with her, and basically the skinny is that she's legit.
Okay.
So I
What's
can't
her name
vouch
again?
for Amy Reichert.
Amy Reichert.
I can't vouch for this 100%. I want to be very careful about that until law enforcement specifically agrees, yes, this is the manifesto. We do know that they've acknowledged that there is a manifesto.
Yes. And their overall thing does not conflict with what she's reporting.
Correct. So, we have to take this carefully, but
So here's what we can draw from what the police have said. It's fair to say, basically, because we asked the question, we were talking yesterday about, regardless of what we think of any particular religion, in this case, Islam, and I don't think much of it at all theologically. Okay. I mean, I don't think it's morally or theologically equal to to others. That's my personal view, which I have a right to do. They have a right to do. They have a disagreement with things that I believe.
Mhm.
But the idea that you're targeting somebody based on your faith or your religion is just plain evil, regardless of what I think about your theology or your faith.
Right.
And I don't change that at all. What's been, I think, a curveball in this reporting is the police have said, they kept talking about there's a lot of hate involved, but they were very careful not to go too deep. And so what it sounds like is that did these shooters, did they hate Islam and Muslims? Yeah, but it sounds like they hated everybody. And there was a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism in there as well. And there was, if the videos bear out to be true, swastikas, white nationalist, white supremacist markings on their guns. The 75-page manifesto had a lot of references to that. So basically, it sounds like a neo-Nazi type of radicalization. And they said these two did meet online, and they were involved in some of the, they got quote unquote radicalized online. And I don't know which groups or which movements or whatever the case is, but it sounds like essentially, were they targeting these people because they're Islamic? No, that was just one of the groups that were on the list. So yes, but they weren't the only ones that would have been victims had these two been able to continue going.
So the term for this is nihilistic violence extremism. And we've talked about a group called 764 in the past. They're the ones that were very much involved with the grooming on Roblox and stuff. But there are these online communities where, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because from what I found, the Sons of Tarrant, and Tarrant was the guy that did the Christchurch mosque shooting in 2019. He is considered some great hero to these groups. And if they were radicalized online, I mean, these groups operate by getting people that are just like this and then training them, or at least giving them resources on how to plan these attacks out.
By the way, nihilism, because I saw a report in San Diego that referenced that. Most people don't know what that means. Okay, nihilism is basically all religions are empty and false. There's no truth. There's no point to life. Nothing matters. That's essentially nihilism.
Literally, yeah. Life is, there's no point to even living.
It's a futility sort of mindset. Just so when you hear that word thrown around, that's what nihilistic means.
So and it has nothing to do with a specific established ideology. It's literally just causing harm for harm's sake, basically.
Right, and that, assuming that the information about the manifesto is correct, is replete. It's throughout the manifesto. The person writing it or persons writing it were basically like, we know we're going to die. We're good with that. The other thing is that it does seem like, based on what's being reported, the desire was to start essentially a race war.
Yes.
So in that with that framework, the idea is you go after any group or person that's going to be provocative to other groups to create this sort of animosity and escalating violence situation. So that's the way that it does make sense to the extent you can make any sense of this level of depravity.
Yeah. And of course, they claim that they were Christians, which clearly their behavior does not reflect that. Obviously.
Seem to have missed the memo on what that's about, apparently. Yeah,
just a bit. Yeah. So in this case here, that doesn't change who the victims are, and that they were targeted for their religion and apparently their race as well. That doesn't change the level of evil that we talked about yesterday. It just looks like they may have been maybe the easiest access target to go first.
Right.
It could have been any others.
I think I might be wrong about this, but I feel like there's a synagogue in close proximity with this facility as well. The other thing to keep in mind is what it's seeming like is emerging here is this isn't an ideological or political statement as much as it is we hate everyone and want the world to burn statement. Obviously, we've got to kind of wait till we get a little bit more confirmation on that. There's a lot of speculation about, the background of these two killers and what was going on with them. I did see statements from the neighbors from across the street from the younger one who were like, seemed like a nice kid. Like,
you got that.
Knew was in martial arts. That's all.
You get so much of that.
Yeah.
And then you also have to look at, the next round. Like, for instance, there was a whole bunch of, it's another trans type of shit. Well, no, it doesn't look like it was. I mean, there maybe, but it doesn't.
I'm going to say the jury's out.
Yeah.
I haven't seen confirmation one way or the other. I understand where the question is coming from. But sometimes you see someone who's like, oh yeah, that kid was always getting in trouble. He was lighting stuff on fire. He was, hurting neighborhood animals, that sort of thing. This isn't one of those. It was like, we didn't have any idea.
And we've seen that a lot too. It's like people, the neighbors, like they're shocked. They were just kept to themselves. They were good neighbors. They helped a little old lady take the trash out. I mean, and then like we never saw anything like this coming.
Oh yeah, they anywhere from like Eric Harrison and Dylan Klebold to Ted Bundy. I mean, there's really not one stereotype that people like this fit into.
You're right.
But yeah, so again, we'll leave it off where we left it off yesterday. We know a little bit more as we thought we would, but there's far more that we don't know. And every time a question's answered, we have more questions. Because it's not even just about these two that I hope we forget their names and they disappear from history. But as the police chief said out there, Scott Wall said, He said this is more about stopping a future tragedy and a future attack because this is happening online with people of this age, with particularly young men of this age. It's not, that's who's targeting, that's who's getting radicalized in all of this garbage.
Check in on your kids, and if you are somebody that's having these sorts of thoughts, call 988 and talk to somebody to get some help, because this is not acceptable in a civilized society. But what is acceptable is you can download the free NewsTalk STL app, and you can stream us anywhere you go. You don't have to be in your vehicle. You don't have to buy one of those indoor radios or one of your emergency radios. You can just put it on your phone and bring us with you wherever you go.
But give me half a chance and I'd be taking off my clothes and living in the jungle. 'Cause the only time that I feel at ease is swinging up and down in a coconut tree. Oh, what a life of luxury to be like an ape man.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers. Once again, temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continue to rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
1949, the last time a Republican held the top post in St. Louis City. A gallon of milk was 84 cents and streetcars ran down Grand Avenue. Unfortunately, St. Louis City streets are no longer the epicenter of family and business life. In the 80 years of Democrat control, our city has been on a steady decline.
Hello, Kirk Ilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis, and we believe it is our duty to provide a different path forward. I invite you to our meetings the first Thursday of every month. Learn more at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
This year, America turns 250, and NewsTalk STL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. NewsTalk STL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Duchenne High School, Moolah Yomo, and Mobile Magic Auto Body. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 1019 and 94.1 NewsTalk STL. #1 for live and local conservative talk.
I just would like to get your comments on that. I'm so glad that you're on the radio, and I want to thank you for that.
I'll tell you why.
1019 and 94.1.
I love these people.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Carl Higbee, host of Frontline on Newsmax TV, and you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, pro-life friends, let's hang out tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to hang out with a lot of our friends, our closest pro-life friends tonight, Susie. All right, we'll tell you how to say hi tonight. Hopefully you're going to be there as well. All right, but as always, we recommend you keep RedState.com close by and keep it up on your browser, your tabs, maybe as part of your news resources. So, Susie, what should catch our eyes today? Let's put it that way.
This is the Red State Rundown.
We already talked about this a little bit, but yes, Sister Told You has up an article about this manifesto from the San Diego shooting. It's titled Alleged Manifesto, throws wrench in early assumptions about motives. Right. And, she kind of gives a rundown of what we know based on what's being reported here. And it does raise additional questions. So you want to check that out if you want more details on that.
A lot of additional questions.
It does. Bob Hogue has Hakeem the Extreme. Bitter Jeffries unloads rage at voters, athletes, and reality. He does seem to be kind of like pitching a fit every time I see him speaking anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, is anyone listening?
No.
Really?
No. I mean, you're right, but if you ask me what's he mad about now, I'm like, I don't know. And I do this for a living. I'm like, it's just Jeffries. I'll pay more attention when he becomes Speaker of the House, which it will happen at some point. Yeah.
Could happen. And then from Ben Smith, we have this one. This is a really crazy story. Meet the Texas Democrat who wants a prison camp for American Zionists. Yes, this gal is running. She is up for election next Saturday in Texas, or next Tuesday, I should say, in Texas. And she's basically saying that Zionists needs to be sent to prison camps, and anyone who supports Israel needs to be tried for treason.
If only there were any historical precedent to that line of thinking to see how that turns out.
And anyway, if you want to find out more about who the heck this lady is, you can read Ben's article at RedState.com.
Jeez. All right. So 6:36 right now. Okay, so Susie and I are going to be at tonight's Make Missouri Pro-Life Again banquet. The one with Riley Gaines. And by the way, if you want to catch our discussion with Riley Gaines, that is up at the News Talk STL Mike Ferguson in the Morning podcast as well. You've done this banquet before, right?
I have not.
Yeah. Oh, I went. I have. It's like 1,100 pro-life people. It is such a cool, positive vibe. I anticipate this event's going to be even better than last year's for a variety of reasons. And so Susie and I are going to be there. If you're going to be there, and I know there's going to be a lot of people who are listening and watching us right now going to be there, please find us and say hi.
Yes.
We really want to chat with you real quick, and then we'll see you at the banquet. It's really a cool event. And one of the things, when you drive in off of 70, assuming you're coming, I would think from where you live, you're coming in from 70, that you're going to drive through that roundabout right there by the convention center. It's going to be a very, very colorful display of protest signs and variety of colored hair and nose rings and all that kind of stuff. So I actually enjoyed that last year as much as anything, just because you're going to get yelled at, and it's pretty funny.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Love getting yelled at.
Yes,
My favorite thing.
Yeah, precisely. And they'll have up the signs and everything. But yeah, Riley Gaines is going to be in town tonight, so that's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to it. Keep track of the News Talk STL social media. We will have some pictures and things like that as well. Okay, let me. I got a really cool press release last night. Now I get a lot of press releases that are sent to me every week, which is great. But I got one from Vitality Women's Clinic in Godfrey. Now, Stuart McMillan from The Lion was telling us about them a few weeks ago whenever he was here for the first time. And I think he probably gave them my contact information. I'm really glad that he did, because I get this press release from Vitality Women's Clinic. Jackie, their executive director, emailed me. And it turns out that the 7th and 8th grade students at St. Francis Holy Ghost School have basically taken it upon themselves to run a bunch of student-led fundraising activities and entrepreneurial efforts to help raise money to support and help the women that Vitality Women's Clinic serves.
That's amazing.
7th and 8th graders.
So, shout out to the youth. Because most, I would say, have their heads in the right places and they want to do the right thing.
Yeah, so get this. And Jackie tells me that they led, not just one, but they led a variety of fundraising initiatives starting in October of last year to this month. They did everything from like handmade craft sales, entrepreneurial business projects, which I think is super cool, sales, raffles, shoe drives. Some of them, did work and then volunteered and then turned in the payment to help this. Sports camps, community events, innovative campaigns, all sorts of things that they listed. So an 8-month constant effort, and they raised, did I mention that these are 7th and 8th graders?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're talking 12 and 13-year-olds, basically.
Over $21,000.
This is amazing.
For the Vitality Women's Clinic in Godfrey. Which is a pro-life pregnancy resource center. So you think about like what Reach does, on the Missouri side. This would be like a partner type of thing in a different part of the metro area. So over $21,000 that these kids just relentlessly were fundraising for, and basically putting their beliefs and their focus. And St. Francis Holy Ghost School, I'm not familiar with, but obviously it would be a Catholic school.
I would
think,
assume so. That's a safe assumption.
And so what you've got are kids who are also putting their faith into action at a very, very early age.
I love to see it.
This was one I emailed Jackie back this morning. I said, hey, we're going to give a shout out to 635 on this. And you know what? I've got this in the news dump every hour as well, because these kids deserve a way to go.
Absolutely, they do. That's wonderful.
Yeah. And so I just love this coolest press release that I got all week long. Now, Vitality Women's Clinic, they provide medical services for free. They do the education, parenting, things like that, resources, and then basically they're working with the women who are in a crisis pregnancy center and their families as well. Just like others. I mean, Birthright does this, Reach does this,
right.
All this sort of thing. So this is the part of the pro-life movement we should be the most excited about. I know we get caught up in the politics of it, but this is the stuff on the ground and face to face. This is where lives are saved.
Yeah, those children deserve praise for all the hard work they do, but I also want to applaud the parents because this demonstrates that when you raise your kids right, they grow up and they be productive rather than marching around schools and playing in traffic and trying to do some nonsense revolutionary protesting. So
right, when you try and present them with ways to live out their faith in a positive, way, it pays off.
I mean, here's the thing is that these kids are going to grow up, or even at some point, they're going to run into somebody and meet somebody who went to Vitality, chose life, and then at some point, these kids are going to realize that raffle that I did, that project that we did to raise money, that volunteering at the sports camp, all of that resulted in this human being right in front of me. I mean, if you're talking about seventh and eighth grade, imagine 3-4 years down the road or 5 years down the road, they're a high school senior, they're in college, whatever. They take on a babysitting gig over the summer, and it could be a child whose life they helped save.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing when you think about it. So what a wonderful tribute to them and to, like Jerome said, to their parents and their teachers for helping to organize this and support a really worthy cause.
Yeah.
Well, and you don't see like that sort of initiative very often anymore. So whatever they're doing in that school district is definitely working because I know people that are older than that can't be bothered to get off the couch and stop playing video games. And these kids are out there organizing and doing something good for their community.
And it wasn't just one thing. Eight months. And Jackie was telling me, listing off all the different things that they were doing. And I love the entrepreneurial, like business entrepreneur. So starting something up in order to raise money.
Yeah.
Essentially, they ran their own little nonprofit and then used that to help support the pro-life center. I mean, that's the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
That will make an incredible extracurricular on their college application.
I hope so. I hope that it does.
Well, I guess it depends on the colleges, but
that's right.
That's true.
Some might appreciate that more than others, but
right. Yeah, but that's just great. You look at something that innovative and that entrepreneurialistic, and that's the way that differences are made.
Yeah.
And then there's some of these kids who are going to go the rest of their life, living out whatever it is they're going to be, and they're never going to meet these people, but they're going to know that they had a hand in helping women who are in crisis, helping fathers who are in crisis, helping entire families, and ultimately there will be somebody on this planet doing something who they are alive because of the work that these kids did. And I hope that that's a realization they come to sooner rather than later. But eventually, what they've done helped save lives, and that's what's the coolest thing about it.
It is, and it's a wonderful dovetail into tonight's event because it obviously just kind of goes hand in hand with it and shows the power of being someone who supports life and not just in theory, not just online in your little arguments, but actually doing something concrete to help promote the concept of it.
And not that the politics and the policy aren't important. We're going to hear a lot tonight about Amendment 3, as we should, but we have to look at the entire thing as holistic. What is the goal? Is the goal to win in politics, or is the goal to save lives? Is the goal to win an election, or is the goal to change our culture to one that values life and women and families?
It's important to keep that distinction in mind. It is. You know what else is important is keeping track of what people are saying about these data centers. The pushback against the data centers around the metro continues. We're going to update you on that in the news dump at 6:50.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A cross between Socrates and Dirty Harry.
On News Talk STL. If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
and listen anytime, anywhere.
Dr. Michael Lewis, West Point grad, physician, and retired Army colonel, is considered the world's leading expert on the use of omega-3s in brain health. He's also the author of When Brains Collide. Dr. Lewis, a lot of people take fish oil supplements, but how do you know they're working if you're not testing?
Elizabeth, I've come across the biggest breakthrough in my 30-plus years of medicine. What if you could test yourself at home to see if your fish oil supplements are actually working? And then have the right product, a combination of fish oil and olive oil, a perfect Mediterranean diet in a bottle delivered right to your doorstep. This is the answer to the American ultra-processed food diet. Email me at test@brainhealtheducation.org. That's test@brainhealtheducation.org.
Email Dr. Lewis today at test@brainhealtheducation.org and take the first step toward a healthier brain. Your future self will thank you. That's test@brainhealtheducation.org.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee, because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, the battles over the data centers aren't even close to being over here in the metro.
I'm fighting my own battle with them.
We have to find a way to tell that story later. She
I
just
know.
let us in on something. Oh, my goodness. Also, some area junior high students stand strong for life and for women. I know we just discussed it, but I'm going to put it back in the news segment here anyway, because it deserves to be spoken about again. And the Cardinals, you look on paper, man, they are not supposed to be a winning team. Guess what? They are a winning team.
I think Scooter knew what he was talking about.
I'm telling you, Scooter right now is winning that bet, and I am happy to lose that bet. I'm just saying. All right, coming up on 6:49 right now. Let's do our first news dump of the day.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
Okay, opponents of a data center project in Festus are not done. After defeating 3 council members who supported the project earlier this year, they've now filed 4 recall petitions to oust the mayor and 3 more council members. Those 3 council members supported that data center project. If the petitions are certified, the recall elections will likely happen in November. We'll know in about a week and a half if there are enough signatures to force those recall votes. All right, by a 7-1 vote, speaking of data centers, the St. Charles City Council passed a permanent ban on data centers in the city limits there. This follows the recent 1-year moratorium that was already in place. So they just basically said, okay, moratorium, we're just taking that and we're going to make that permanent, is where they're going with that.
Yeah.
And like I said, 7-1 vote. There were 3 members who I think were not there, but even if they had all voted the other way, it wouldn't
Yeah,
have
it would
made
have
any
gone that way
difference
regardless. Yeah.
whatsoever. Okay, this tragedy in San Diego here. Police investigating the shooting and the attack on that Islamic center. They're investigating it as a hate crime. I'm talking about under California laws there. 3 people are dead, including the security guard, after 2 teenage suspects opened fire attacking the mosque. Authorities found what they call hate speech written on one of their guns. A lot of neo-Nazi and white supremacist type of stuff. FBI San Diego Special Agent in Charge Mark Remley telling reporters that a manifesto was recovered as well, but he's not saying a lot about the details just yet.
I would reiterate it's early on in the investigation. We are dedicating every resource the FBI has to conduct a thorough analysis of that manifesto to try to learn what led to this, but I think also more importantly, how can we stop future attacks?
And both of the shooters died of what appeared to be self-inflicted gunshot wounds as well. There's an article at RedState.com about the manifesto as well with some more details.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. President Trump hosting lawmakers at the White House for the annual congressional picnic. And, of course, he's talking about a lot of policy stuff as well. He did discuss the war in Iran, and he is promising that it's going to end quickly.
They want to make a deal so badly. They're tired of this. Should have happened for 47 years. Somebody should have done something about it. And it's going to happen, and it's going to happen fast. And you're going to see oil prices plummet. They're going to come down. There's so much oil out there. They're going to come plummeting down.
Okay, we've been hearing that's going to happen quickly for a couple months now.
Time's a ticking.
Yeah,
Time's a ticking.
We need to define what quickly means here. Vice President J.D. Vance telling reporters during a briefing on Tuesday that the war in Iran is, his words, not a forever war, and he touts what they're calling a lot of progress as well. Okay, there is a update on the trial of Tyler Robinson, the man who is facing murder charges for killing Charlie Kirk. He was in court in Utah on Tuesday for a hearing. Judge Tony Groff, I think is how it's pronounced, Graff or Groff, hearing arguments on two critical issues ahead of Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing, which is going to be in July. One of them concerns a motion by the defense to close portions of the July hearing and seal some of the exhibits. Okay. Defense attorney Stacey Visser warning that what she's calling reliable hearsay that's expected to be introduced at the preliminary hearing would be subject to an admissibility battle before trial. I really hope you can translate all this here in just a minute. And she's proposing closing the hearings.
Our solution, what we see, is closing the preliminary hearing and this court thereafter providing a transcript of what occurred during the preliminary hearing that can account for all of the evidence that wouldn't be admissible at trial.
Okay, so Judge Groff pushing back on that idea, saying that closing the hearing would not be narrowly tailored. Robinson faces multiple charges, including aggravated murder in connection with the assassination of Charlie Kirk last September. Prosecutors have said they intend to seek the death penalty if he's convicted. I read the words right in front of me, but I am telling you, I was taking them from my eyeballs, through my brain, out through my mouth, and I am not sure what I just read.
Yeah, I wanted to ask about something you said about reliable hearsay.
Yeah, that's those were her words. Defense attorney Stacey Visser warned that reliable hearsay expected to be introduced at the preliminary hearing would be subject to an admissibility battle before trial.
So here's what that means.
Yeah.
Before you go to trial, you have to hash out what evidence gets to come in and what evidence doesn't. And in order to hash it out, you have to talk about it. So you're going to be talking about stuff that may not ultimately be able to come in. So if that's open, everyone's going to hear about the evidence that's not supposed to be coming in at trial, and that could therefore, theoretically taint the jury pool, that sort of thing. So it's an effort to shield stuff from being exposed to public consumption if it's not going to be admissible at trial, so that it doesn't indirectly influence the decision in the trial.
Right. I mean, what are you suggesting, that rumors could happen on social media or in other media that run wild and people don't check it?
I've heard about it.
Really? Mm-hmm. That could happen? Okay. But yeah, this is going to be a long, drawn-out process. And I know there's some people we want fast justice, but if you want to do it right, especially in a situation like this, you've got to do it in a thorough way. All right. A pro-life pregnancy resources center on the Illinois side is thanking some junior high students for their support.
Mm-hmm.
I know we just talked about this. I just think these kids deserve another shout out here.
They do.
The 7th and 8th graders at St. Francis Holy Ghost School raised over $21,000 for the Vitality Women's Clinic throughout this past school year. The students organized several fundraising efforts and entrepreneurial projects over the last 8 months to benefit the clinic and the women that they serve. Now, you can learn more about Vitality at the website is vitalityspeaks.net. So thank you to Vitality Women's Clinic for sending me that story.
Absolutely.
That's the coolest story I've seen in like weeks.
Well, and considering like all the news that we have to cover that is so uncool,
Right.
it's really nice to hear something like that. It's very kind of uplifting, and it's
No.
good to hear.
Yep, absolutely. And you know what? That's going to be in the other two news dumps coming out this morning as well. All right. There are good calories and there are bad calories. I think we all know that, right?
No, they're not.
Oh, now wait a second.
There are yummy calories and there are ucky, but
Well, okay, yeah, no, I guess I get it. Yeah.
Okay. Are you feeling attacked right now, Jerome?
I like my calories, okay?
Okay. A new Duke University study says that we Americans are taking in a lot of the bad ones.
No, really?
Or as Jerome would say, the tasty ones.
You don't say.
Over half of the calories consumed in America are from ultra-processed foods now. And we're talking about chips, packaged breads, sugar-heavy breakfast cereals, flavored yogurts. And that's one of the things where people are like, I'm eating healthy, I'm eating yogurt. Well, not necessarily. If you get like just a regular plain like Greek yogurt, just to put some fruit on it or a little bit of honey, you're much better off. Soft drinks, processed meats, frozen microwave meals are the most popular foods that we are consuming that are bad for us. And here's what's bad. For kids, the percentage of calories that come from the junk is even higher.
I was going to say, I think 50% sounds low.
That's overall, but for kids, it's like crazy.
Right, because it's what's easy and convenient, and people are in a hurry, and they're just trying to throw stuff together. And I'm guilty of it as the next person.
Just saying, go to Nutrition Stop. They can talk you
it's
through
not a
this.
question of not having it's the time and the discipline to actually do the planning.
Yep. All right, it took an extra inning, but the Cardinals win it walk-off style. The final score at Busch Stadium last night was 9-6 after 10 innings. Ivan Herrera's 10th inning 3-run home run made the difference. J.J. Weatherholt, Nolan Gorman, and Alec Burleson all had home runs as well. Game 2 of that series starts today at 6:45. Here's the thing. Redbirds are now in second place in the division, 1 half game behind the Brewers. Yesterday, the Cubs were in first place, and now they're just a half game behind the first place team, but their record is slightly behind the Cardinals. So what we're going to see is like 4 teams are going to trade first place over the next several weeks.
It's early in the season.
Early in the season. We're about 20% through the season at this point. So who's going to win the bet, me or Scooter? Right now, Scooter's winning.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, Michael's Funeral Home, and Freddie's Market.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
NewsTalk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on NewsTalk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is NewsTalk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. The results are in this morning, and yesterday's primaries provide more evidence that President Trump's endorsement carries a lot of weight among Republican voters. In Kentucky, Ed Galrine trounced incumbent GOP Congressman Thomas Massey. Galrine says time to get to work.
Now my focus is on advancing the president's and the party's agenda to put America first and Kentucky always.
Massey says he is proud of the campaign he ran and the support he received from young voters.
I mean, we stirred up something. There is a yearning in this country for somebody who will vote for principles over party.
Warm words exchanged between Russian President Putin and Chinese President Xi as Putin pays a state visit to Beijing. Face of rising energy prices, Britain is backing off some of its sanctions on Russia.
For years, the UK's led international efforts to put economic pressure on Russia for its war on Ukraine. Yet last night, the Department for Trade and Business slipped out a formal notice announcing some sanctions were being watered down. Since October, the UK had banned the import of diesel and jet fuel refined from Russian crude oil in third countries. That ban will from today be lifted indefinitely. Some sanctions on the transport of Russian gas were also lifted. Both measures reflect growing concerns about the rising price of fuel following Iran's blockade of the Strait of Hormuz.
The BBC's James Landale, head of the World Health Organization, says the risk of the spread of Ebola in Congo and Uganda is high at the national and regional levels, but low at the global level. 51 confirmed cases in Congo so far, almost 600 suspected cases. On Wall Street this morning, the Dow futures 81 points higher, NASDAQ futures up 150 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime. And you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers. Once again, temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continue to rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has the solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
I want to share something with you. Cooking a pizza using coal creates an amazing pizza. Only one place to get it, Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield. Of course, they offer a wide variety of pasta, but you just visit the website napolistl.com, dine in or take out, and get ready for patio season. Napoli Brothers Pizza and Pasta in Chesterfield Valley. Try it. You can thank me later.
Mike Ferguson.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Susie Moore.
They look very aggressive. I think they want to beat me up.
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, we are getting a clearer picture of what the midterms are going to look like with some big questions still remaining about some of the big races around the country. You know, what's happening with some of these, particularly U.S. Senate, for instance. All right, we're now joined by Jennifer Oliver O'Connell from RedState, and she's all over it. She's all over this. So, Jennifer, checking out your stuff today. I mean, you look at particularly around the South, a lot of primary races here. Tommy Tuberville. He's not running for re-election, running for governor. Probably going to get it. But
he is indeed.
Yeah, obviously, I say
Hello?
probably. Yeah, can you hear me? Are you there, Jennifer? Can you hear me okay? Uh-oh. Do we not have Jennifer? Jennifer, you there now?
Hello.
Uh-oh. Soros the gremlin has climbed into our board again.
I think I lost my connection.
Uh-oh. All right.
We'll work on that.
We'll call her right back here to see what happens there. Oh, my goodness.
Gremlins,
right.
commies.
It's Soros the gremlin, once again, crawling in there.
That guy, I swear.
I just want to just like pow, pow, pow.
I know. It's so annoying.
Okay. So, but we do know that, with last night, for instance, there's a lot of, elections that were happening. The whole thing in Texas has been interesting with the president now jumping in and saying, I like Ken Paxton. And basically, Cornyn's been a supporter, but he hasn't been supporter-y enough, and it wasn't fast enough. And so, basically he's got two guys that would be pretty loyal, and he's just picked the challenger as opposed to the incumbent.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he stayed out of it for the primary. This was the runoff.
Yeah.
And he, I think he was probably weighing what would be best politically and decided to go with Paxton. So we got her back.
We got her back. All right,
Yes,
Jennifer.
I am.
Yeah, we've got a gremlin that gets in. We've named him Soros, who just interferes with the good information. And so feel good that you were targeted by Soros on this one. Okay, so we look at the primaries and runoffs and things like that from around the country last night, and we're getting a kind of a clearer picture of to what the midterms are going to look like. So I was starting with Alabama. Obviously, it's going to be an open seat, Tommy Tuberville. Of course, people forget he was an insanely popular football coach before getting elected to the Senate. A lot of times you go from being that iconic figure in a state like Alabama, and then people get mad at you for your politics, and that hasn't happened. So I think he's probably already measuring the drapes in the governor's mansion. I don't think he's going to have any problem getting there.
Yeah, he's pretty much anointed, especially since he is running against the person that he divested of that Senate seat, and that is Doug Jones on the Democrat side, who was a lackluster senator at best and pretty much did not represent Alabama values. There's so many groups, as there are in a lot of red states like Georgia, sadly, where they are trying to, we're going to flip it blue, and we need to do this and we need to do that, and teach Alabamans that they can't be Southerners. And it just does not work, which is thankfully one of the reasons I live here. So yeah, Tuberville is far and away the favored because not only that, he's had a pretty stellar Senate record in terms of what he's fought for, what he stood for. Not just Alabama values, but American values. And, again, his name recognition is off the charts. So, as in football, which we love football out here. So, yeah, he's going to do okay.
So, Jennifer, to replace him now then in the Senate, then we've got two other, we've got multiple contenders, but the top two are going to be facing a runoff, it looks like, right?
Yes, bright and early this morning, I found out that Jared Hudson, who is a Navy SEAL businessman, he actually trains law enforcement on gun safety and how to do sweeps like the SEAL, do what the SEALs do. He teaches them that, and he also runs a nonprofit which helps law enforcement in combating human trafficking.
Mm-hmm.
So he for a newcomer, he's done tremendously well, and he edged out our Attorney General, Steve Marshall for that second place slot.
I know you and I were
Against
anxious. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Against Representative Barry Moore, who decided to run for Senate.
Gotcha. I know we were anxiously waiting the results of that last night to see if we could get that clarified, but it took a little while to sort out who the second.
Was that a surprise?
Yeah.
Jennifer, was that a surprise?
It was not. It was not. Steve Moore has been a quality attorney general for all intents and purposes, but Senate caliber and nationwide caliber, I don't think he's there.
Yeah.
Barry Moore has a solid conservative record, and again, people really like him, even though they were like, well, he doesn't really have any name recognition because he's down south as opposed to, certain parts of the state like Huntsville and Birmingham. But he did quite well. He had, I don't know, he could have won it all, I believe. He got pretty close. I think it was like 43%, whereas Hudson just edged out Moore at 26%. But for a non-name recognition first-time candidate, Jared Hudson did fabulously.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to give a shout-out to the Moores from Alabama, since I'm one of them. Jennifer, you also covered what's going on in Georgia. We had some similar situations with runoffs, but some tough wins that were just secured by the GOP there.
Yeah, the biggest deal that everyone was watching was the Supreme Court, the Georgia Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody likes the fact that, one, they would have considered redistricting, and also the fact that, there were some rulings that were made in Fulton County and against Fani Willis that it's just like, oh, that's beyond the pale. Our God, Fani Willis, you actually went against her. And so Barack Obama and Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party decided to mount to, it's supposed to be a nonpartisan, just like our justices is supposed to be about the Constitution. Same in Georgia. It's supposed to be about the Constitution. It's a nonpartisan race. But they mounted some clearly Democrat activist attorneys to run against them. And both Georgia candidates, I'm not sure what happened, whether Fulton County fell asleep or what happened, but both of them did not do anything. They were easily won, especially the female, Sarah Hawkins. She easily regained her seat, and the guy Charles, again forgetting his name, Charlie Bethel. He decided, he actually moved ahead. That race was kind of tight, but around 11 o'clock Eastern time, he ended up moving ahead and regained his seat. So those were the big deals in Georgia. And then there's the governorship and the rest, which oddly went to runoffs.
And we're visiting with Jennifer Oliver O'Connell. You can see her coverage at redstate.com. We got to talk about Texas here in the last couple minutes that we've got. I mean, this is one where the president, because you mentioned this to me, Susie, the president just made an endorsement in that race. The president was not going to lose either way, whether it was Cornyn or Paxton, as far as somebody generally being supportive of him. But he decides to endorse the challenger over an incumbent in the U.S. Senate. Conventional wisdom says that upsets the apple cart, and you shouldn't do that. That's bad politics. But President Trump has basically made a presidential career out of not just upsetting the apple cart, but essentially picking it up and throwing it wherever he wants to throw it. What do you make of that, and how do things stand in Texas right now?
The doomers are out and saying, oh, he's going to lose, and, he shouldn't have crossed Cornyn, blah, 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 blah. I think he's going to be fine. Political instincts are something that Trump rivals at over some of his competitors, and the fact that he has picked the winners in so many smaller races, and particularly picked the winners of where the electorate was not very happy with them, where the electorate just asked for one or two small things. If you remember, Mike, Paxton actually posted and said, you know what, if you pass the Save America Act and get that pushed through, I'll step back and let you become the senator. That was an easy layup. They could have done that, but they refused. For whatever reason, they're refusing to pass the Save America Act. And so Cornyn did it to himself. I think President Trump saw that and said, you know what, here's where my loyalties lie, but I also think the poll numbers indicate, and the word on the ground indicates that they're going to back Paxton and Cornyn is going bye-bye.
And Jennifer, J.D. Vance he subbed in for Caroline Leavitt yesterday at the White House press briefing podium, and he had some thoughts on this endorsement too. And it kind of you did a nice job of reflecting back the fact that this is a reflection of what the voters are actually asking for.
Yeah. What I loved about what he said is that, again, J.D. is very expert at this, taking a micro issue, a local issue, and expanding it to what it means nationally, and also what it means to the American people. And he said that, I think the message that people should take from this is fundamentally, you have got to serve the people who sent you. Period, full stop.
Mm-hmm.
And when you aren't doing that, when you get out of step with that, then especially you get out of step with the President of the United States, but more importantly, when you get out of step with the people, it's not going to go well with you politically. And he nailed it. The people were very much, everybody wanted to Save America Act, Democrat, Republicans. And the fact that Cornyn could not put his muscle behind that, his supposedly considerable muscle, said volumes.
What's next for John Thune? Because he's now, I'm seeing him in a lot of conversations and a lot of frustration with him as well. Just as the midterms settle, because the way that this settles could affect his ability to lead in the Senate.
Exactly. Because to me, your entire constituency wanted this Voting Rights Act, as well as they wanted, a push on illegal immigration, which Cornyn has been wishy-washy on. He let so many people over the border and sign certain agreements. And there's a whole lot of Muslim, Islamic Center, Sharia law stuff going on in Texas, too, that he's been very thumb in the wind about. Mm-hmm. And I just think, again, the people were saying, sorry, you got to go. We don't care if Paxton is scandal-plagued in terms of what he's done as Attorney General, and in terms of what he could do in terms of his putting forth the Trump agenda. We see him doing that as opposed to you who cares that you have $1 million and you've been in the position forever. You're not doing us any good.
All right, Jennifer Oliver O'Connell from RedState.com. We've already tagged you on our social media, I believe, but people want to check out the work that you do. Is Red State the best way? But you've also got the podcast, right?
Yeah, RedState.com is the best way to find all of the written stuff, and then AsTheGirlTurns.com for the podcast and the other stuff that I write and do outside of Red State.
All right, thanks, Jennifer. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer.
I thought, by the way, J.D. Vance was really funny when he said he's pinch hitting for Caroline Leavitt, but the deal is that when she came back from maternity leave, that she'd have to be vice president for a couple weeks while he was at home with Ushu, and then she had
has their baby. Yeah, it's fair trade. Yeah. It's fair trade. Hey, voters in Festus have already ousted 3 city council members over the data center controversy. Now, those voters are going after the ones who were not up for re-election this year. We've got that update at 7:20.
Making cold mind to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Everybody wants me to dance. Could you imagine FDR dancing?
On News Talk STL.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm?
All right, you've heard me talk about Window World before. They're one of only 2 replacement windows with a Good Housekeeping seal of approval, and they're ranked number 1 in the country for number of windows sold by Qualified Remodeler magazine. They've been doing this for over 20 years, helping improve the look and energy efficiency of more than 80,000 homes right here in St. Louis. And the St. Louis location has been owned, operated, and managed by born and raised St. Louisans for more than 23 years. So if you're thinking it might be time for some new windows, you can call today for a free home estimate at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS. What I like about Window World is the product itself. Their windows are durable, they're secure, they're energy efficient, and they're built with double-strength glass that you don't typically see in replacement windows. And you're covered with a lifetime warranty. That includes parts, glass, breakage, and labor. That's a pretty big deal. They don't just do windows either. Window World can also help with siding and doors, basically everything on your exterior except a roof or garage door. And here's something a lot of companies don't offer. Their customer service team is available 7 days a week, including weekends. So it shows. It's over half of their appointments come from repeat customers or referrals, which tells you a lot about their commitment to customer service. They're also big in the community. They've raised over $4 million over the years for charities like Action for Autism and St. Jude, and they're the preferred window of your St. Louis Blues. Right now, they're offering 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So if you've been putting this off, now is a great time to act. Call Window World at 1-800-GET-WINDOWS.
Colombo and Company.
The legislative session is over. What were the successes, the failures, and what's next for Missouri lawmakers? We'll discuss Wednesday with Rodney Boyd, plus Democratic strategist Keith Antone and closest cabinet.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on Newstalk STL.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint by a lot, backed with our 25-year transferable warranty. Paint a house, shield a home. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, steel, aluminum, cedar, and more. We are the only coating company selected by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where all 3 episodes concentrate on unpainted brick. If you maintain or own a business with a tired-looking building, you owe it to yourself to look at Rhino Shield and our beautifully durable color schemes. Evaluations are free. We're making buildings pop and be noticed again, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks, exceeding expectations every day with our products, people, and performance. Now is the time to call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or go to 877-25rhino.com and see how honest and transparent we really are. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
And then the media.
101.9 and 94.1.
They lying about what's going on in America. They lying about it.
Newstalk STL.
This is Kirk Hilsinger, chairman of the St. Louis City Republican Party. Connect with us at stl-gop.com. Now it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, this data center thing just continues to just get more and more intense all over the metro area. Festus, it's going to another level in Festus. St. Charles City goes to another level there. They've just said no. So we'll get to those stories here in just a second. But Susie, you got to tell that story you just told Jerome and I a few minutes ago. So here's the backstory: is that Susie has this love-hate relationship with the AI chat box that she's got. She won't name it, which is what I've been trying to get her to do, because then you're tempted to go, it's actually a sentient being, which it's not.
No, I will not give it a name.
But you a little bit ago you said you got to hear the story, and you told me what you're about to tell everybody else. And it goes not just to the AI as the presence, but as to who's building and writing the AI and the biases that people we need to know about and how to deal with it.
Yes. And I do want to specify, this is not my chat. This is not Chat GPT. This is just Google's AI.
Oh, Google's AI.
So I just went to Google and asked the question. I was trying to, because I'm multitasking, I was trying to come up with a quick way to summarize the holding of the Louisiana versus Calais decision, just to make sure that I had the phrasing right in an article I was editing, because people have kind of oversimplified it. So I asked the Google AI chatbot, sum up the Calais decision in one sentence. Pretty straightforward, right?
Real straightforward.
The sentence that it gives me, I'm going to get rid of the early verbiage because it's kind of neither here nor there, but it just basically says the case struck down Louisiana's congressional map as an unconstitutional racial gerrymander, fundamentally weakening Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act by making it much harder for voters of color to challenge and remedy discriminatory voting districts. Well, that seems a little loaded, doesn't it?
That was the fact, quote unquote.
That was all I asked was to sum up the decision in one sentence, and that was a wordy sentence, and it was pretty loaded.
Yeah, and it assigned a value and a virtue to it, and this was the chat box.
This was AI chat or Google chat.
What I want everybody to hear is how you responded in the conversation.
So my response back to the Google AI overlords was, sum up the Calais decision in one sentence, but don't sound like a leftist Democrat activist in doing so. So the next response I get was the case held that the state's congressional map, which intentionally created an additional majority-minority district, constituted an unconstitutional racial gerrymander because the Voting Rights Act did not mandate the use of race to justify such districting. A much more neutral spin, and actually they're citing SCOTUS blog for that, which is, I would say they're a liberal-leaning or entity, but they're much more down the middle with their commentary. So, yeah, I had to beat the AI overlords into submission because they wanted to give me leftist spin.
Okay, so here's the lesson learned, though. When you're using AI, and so when you're teaching your kids or your kids are teaching you to use AI, whether it's Google or GPT or whatever it is, not only do you have to be very specific, but Susie, you didn't get the right answer until you said, do not be biased.
Yes.
Do not, and so that is what people, I think, need to kind of, as we, where I would say we enter the AI era, we're in it.
We're in it.
But as we adapt to the AI era, that's what we have to remember is that you have to explicitly set the rules. Otherwise, people are going to just assume those are the facts because that's what AI spit out.
I mean, we've talked about that for years. First of all, in the context of media overall, obviously there's no such thing as, there just isn't any such thing as unbiased media. It's coming through human filters. Okay, it just is. But then relying on Wikipedia as a source. Okay, well, it's only as good as the information put into it. It's a great starting point. If you just want to get a starting point about how to find basic facts about a person or a historical event, it's a good starting point, but you should never just take Wikipedia at face value. No. Well, it's the same principle with AI. Ask Grok or ask Google or ask whomever, ChatGPT, the question, but don't just accept what it says at face value. First of all, they do get stuff wrong. They do hallucinate regularly. And so you're basically how to train your dragon. How to train your AI. You got to stay on top of it. You have ownership in this. You have agency in this. Don't just be a passive consumer of what it spits out.
Right. And Wikipedia I found Wikipedia very helpful because sometimes they link to the sources.
Correct.
But I would never actually use Wikipedia.
Right. Like if I want to know what district a representative is from.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Basic stuff like that. It's a great starting point.
Yeah. Okay. So last few minutes we've got. So from AI to the data centers, which we're related. I mean, listen.
Going to power the AI.
Everything is going to be digital at some point. We are moving, everything out of paper and files, and everything's onto the cloud. That could be good. That could be bad. It's probably a little bit of both, but that's just the way it is. So the data centers are where all this is going to go through. So in Festus, big story, and actually that story ended up going a little bit national, kind of a secondary national story, is that people were so upset about that data center deal that was made in March. And then come the April elections, 4 council members were thrown off. One of them who actually didn't support the deal, so he was just kind of collateral damage. But the 3 council members who supported the data center deal, they were thrown out, and the voters made it very clear it was because of the data center deal. And then what happens in most cities is, especially smaller communities, is that half of your board or your council is up for election one year, the next half is up the next year, and so there's always about half of you up for election each year for most cities. Well, the other 3 members of the council are now facing a recall, and so is the mayor in Festus. They have delivered the signatures to the county clerk in Jefferson County, which they have 10 days now to verify the signatures, but the county clerk told some media, she goes, it sure looks like they have it, but we'll know for sure in like a week and a half or so. So that's likely to be in the November election. And so it's possible there could be a 100% turnover of the elected Festus City government, mayor and council, over the data center thing. That's how motivated people are over this.
Seriously motivated.
Yeah, seriously motivated to go out of their way to do that. In St. Charles City, not county council, city council, they voted last night essentially to permanently ban data centers from being constructed within the city limits. Now, there was already a moratorium in place, but that was basically, we're going to look into it more. We're not making any decisions to allow anything for the time being. And then they've had, hearings, and a lot of people were, showing up. And then they voted last night 7-1 to ban the use of, or ban the construction within the city limits.
So they listened to their constituents.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty overwhelming.
We talked the other day about that data center hearing in Franklin County, up at East Central College. That thing lasted 13 hours.
Yeah.
13. They were using East Central's gym, like where the basketball team, the volleyball team play. And it was not full, but it was pretty full. They wouldn't have been able to fit that into a smaller venue. 13 hours.
Long meeting.
Yeah.
Wow. In other news, J.B. Pritzker may already be planning his run or waddle for the White House, but he still has to earn another term at his current gig. Can Darren Bailey be the man to stop Pritzker? We sure hope so, but let's talk to Darren about Illinois' future at 7:35.
You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers. Once again, temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continued rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
If fishing is your passion, you need a shop that shares it. 367 Bait Shop and Fresh Fish, family owned and operated by brothers Ty and Tony Baker, has everything the serious angler needs. The widest selection of catfish bait, fresh fish, and quality fishing supplies, all at prices that won't break the bank. Their knowledgeable staff is ready to answer your questions. And while you're there, don't miss their delicious fresh fish fries. 367 Bait Shop on Benham and Spanish Lake, or visit 367baitandtackle.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Do you have one or more of the many subscriptions for a special entertainment network? Netflix, Paramount, Disney, ESPN. You get the idea. Do you remember what you paid when you first started? I'll bet you're paying more now. You could say you got taken on a bait and switch, but it's in the fine print. Creeping subscriptions are a fact of life, and trying to cancel is never as easy as signing up. This also applies to podcasts or internet publications if they have a paywall. One of our owners, Jeff Allen, with decades in broadcasting, keeps a close eye on all of this happening. And he recently shared a survey by a group called Tech Survey. The key issue, 3 in 4 survey admit subscription fees are a growing concern. But then they think, well, you know, a few more pennies a month, a year, $1 a year, they just go ahead and go along with it. There is a silver lining. Broadcast radio is free. No subscription, just turn it on or turn it off. And for a personal plug, for my money, no money, News Talk STL is the best of the free.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Looking for insurance you can truly trust? Since 1986, Bauer Insurance Agency has been protecting families and businesses across Missouri and Illinois. Owner Cindy Blanton doesn't just offer one quote. She shops all the top carriers like Progressive, Travelers, Safeco, and more to find you the best rates. Whether it's your home, auto, toys, or business, we've got you covered. Visit us at Mid-Rivers Mall in St. Peters or call 636-812-2001. Bauer Insurance Agency, the company that protects. The name you can trust.
Hello, 4th of July. Back-to-back Jack. Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium.
Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at Cardinals.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Wherever I'm at, home, car, wherever.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Just the convenience on the phone. Streaming live on the mobile app.
Love the new app.
And listen anytime.
Everywhere.
Anywhere.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
All right, the pundits say J.B. Pritzker is setting up a run for the White House.
You think?
Yep. But he's got to get through a re-election this year before that can happen. It's just another reason that the race for governor is so important in Illinois. Not just for everybody who's watching and listening in Illinois right now, but frankly, for everybody, because there are national implications. That and Pritzker's basically destroying the state's economy. So there's that as well. All right, we're now joined by Darren Bailey, Republican nominee for governor of Illinois. Darren, good to chat with you again. Let me start talking. Well, I want to talk about the economy stuff in just a second, but at this point, we can't not talk about the impact of public safety and crime in the state. Everything that so many people were warning was going to happen with J.B. Pritzker and the Illinois Democrats' approach to crime and public safety and prosecution, it's coming to fruition in almost cartoonish ways. It would be funny if it weren't so dangerous. I mean, at one point we're talking about in one area something like 10, 12% of those with ankle monitors missing, just gone, and committing other crimes. This was entirely predictable. At what point do people get the message that public safety is one of those few critical aspects of government, and J.B. Pritzker's approach just has to be done away with?
Well, good morning, and it's an honor to be here with you today. And you're exactly right. This argument of the Safety Act, I mean, it's went beyond what we thought could actually happen. And I think the bottom line is to realize history, which under J.B. Pritzker's rule is not accurately necessarily being taught in our public schools anymore. But when you understand your history, you understand that one of the ways to tear down a constitutional republic is to create lawlessness. And that's exactly what's taking place here. And I'm telling you, the people up here in Chicago, they're tired, they're fed up, and they're scared, and they're concerned. Just there isn't a week that goes by without a needless death. These stores who are closing because they can't afford to stay open, creating hardships in the most needed areas. So the time is right. People are fed up. We've just got to simply remind them that, hey, you can change this if you simply show up and vote. And unfortunately, that has become a problem in this nation and state as well. So that's our goal, to get people out to vote, because I think they finally realized what the problem is. We just got to coach them along to help them understand and remember how to fix the problem.
Good morning, Darren. This is Susie Moore. I just saw yesterday there's another Walgreens leaving Chicago, I think, on the south side. And so, we're seeing business after business fold up and say we don't want to be a part of that. So that's got to be reaching, at least on some level, the voters in the Chicago area, not just, downstate Illinois, outstate Illinois, which is reliably red. Obviously, it's a numbers game from when we're talking about the election itself. How do you reach those voters who aren't traditionally Republican voters or who are traditionally Democrat voters but might be open to being peeled off because of these issues?
Well, as soon as we finish up talking here, I'm going to be headed to City Hall to participate in their public comment time, being in their churches, just reaching out to them, because the craziness of all this, the political class, the people who have always been elected, the people that the only time they show up to their community, the only time they show up to their churches is election time. They're blaming the Walgreens closing, the CVS closings. They're blaming all this on corporate greed. That's how they spin this. Not to mention that, I mean, I've been in those stores up here. You cannot buy a tube of toothpaste without having to go get someone to unlock it from the glass cabinet for you. So, getting out to the people like we're doing every day from 6 a.m. to midnight. We're out here speaking to groups. It's boots on the ground. It's a lot of hard work. It's tiring, but it has to be done. It's been done in the past, and I think we can save this state again.
We are visiting with Darren Bailey, Republican nominee for governor in Illinois. Now, one of the things that's obviously affecting everybody, and the war in Iran has so much to do with the price of gas going up, but Illinois taxes gas, among other things, at such extreme rates. And this isn't anything new. When I was in Illinois, and I grew up in Illinois, when I was in high school, Darren, we went into Quincy, just jump across the river to fill up your gas. And this was in the 80s. So Illinois has a long history of taxing things and making them more expensive. But what can be done, if anything, at the state level to keep something like fuel more affordable? Or is this entirely a federal issue?
No, this tax situation is entirely a state issue. But again, in the same manner, all that J.B. Pritzker can do is just Trump and Iran, and blame the problem of this current recent spike in gas prices on President Trump. So all that does is just prove to the fact that, yes, he is running for president. But what I will do, literally first day in office, is suspend the gas tax for 6 months. It's just no questions asked. People need relief up here in Chicago, this whole Chicago Bears Stadium, data centers, whatever we're talking about. You know what? We don't make any more deals here in Illinois until we create better, affordable situations for the people who are living, who are working, and who are paying their taxes. So July 1st in Illinois, they're going to start taxing rewards on your credit cards here in Illinois. So this is a machine that cannot get enough. It feeds off of the people and without any relief. So no, the gas tax has to be suspended and hopefully in time done away with. Working class people and unions ask, well, gosh, where's the money going to come from? The money's there. This budget in the last 8 years has grown from a $32 billion budget to a $56 billion budget. There is so much waste and mess spending within that. We just need to rein it in, get smart about it, prioritize it. And I believe that's how we're going to get Illinois on a better track.
Well, and that was going to be my follow-up is, obviously the gas tax is there for roads and bridges and stuff like that. Are the funds there, if you suspend the gas tax, that you could still keep the road construction and maintenance, highway construction and maintenance going at the pace it needs to be?
Yes, there's $3 billion sitting there right now. People forget that in 2025, J.B. Pritzker pulled $2.5 billion out of the gas tax fund or out of the budget to give people who are here illegally free insurance, free food, free housing. People forget that back in October, the General Assembly decided in their wisdom to pull $1.5 billion for downstate infrastructure out of the gas tax fund and send it to bail CTA out without anyone asking CTA, what we've got to do to get their profitability back on track. So, I mean, it's just, there is nothing that makes business sense. There is no common sense. It's just reckless tax and spend here in Illinois.
Darren, we talked about the crime issue, and then you also referenced the situation with, funding illegal immigration, that sort of thing. We had this horrible situation just a month and a half, 2 months ago with Sheridan Gorman being killed, murdered there in the Chicago area. And that, I think, probably, really caught a lot of people's attention and really drew some focus on the policies, the sanctuary city policies that are pursued in Chicago and by the state. What are you hearing from voters on that issue?
Well, they are scared. They are frustrated. And shortly after that, Officer Bartholomew was killed, in a hospital, apprehending, taking someone in who had broken the law. And I mean, it's needless. And they are frustrated. there's a sense of apathy that has set in, and people feel hopeless in this state and in this nation, and that reflects on our voter turnout. So therein lies the work of just simply getting out and say, friends, you have a choice. Things can be different, but you have to show up and exercise this not right, but duty to vote. If we make that happen this upcoming November, Illinois is on a new track. But yes, people are frustrated and angry, but they forget about this constitutional duty to vote, that they can indeed make changes, because up here in Chicagoland, just things have been messy for so long. Just so many political promises, political lies, taking advantage of the people. And we just got to do the hard work and convince the residents of Illinois and Chicago that there's a new day dawning. What do you have to lose? Vote for something different. Show up and vote. And we are getting some pretty amazing response to that.
Yeah, I want to talk about the turnout. We just got a minute or so left here. Darren Bailey running for governor of Illinois. And I lived in Pittsfield and Decatur and Camp Point and Quincy, and so my childhood, my youth was all Illinois. And there's this detachment from downstate Illinois and Chicago. They almost look at it like it's just a whole separate thing, forgetting almost that it's in the entire state. And I think there's a feeling with all of my friends in Illinois and people that when I'm there constantly that are just saying, well, there's nothing we can do about it. And there's this sort of detachment. Chicago runs the state. The Democrats run it, even though if you look at county by county, there's more red than blue. What is that message to get to people other than, well, you just have to show up? Because people need to feel that there is a chance to win, because you've got all sorts of national mainstream media saying, well, this is all wrapped up. There's no chance. Democrats just own it all. But the numbers aren't as far off as what a lot of people realize. So what's realistic in this state? And then what is it that's going to have to happen to get people to show up to vote? Because if you're told there's no point, then there's a lot of people who think there's no point, even if there is a point and a possibility.
No, thank you very much for that. And I think this next 5 months, as we continue to get out and message, I think every day as J.B. Pritzker and Brandon Johnson continue to fail Illinois, I think that in the next few weeks, as this budget process unfolds, and who knows whatever taxes or whatever they're going to dream up in Springfield, I think just day by day, putting people's focus back on state, back on Illinois, instead of focusing on what's taking place in D.C., just messaging. That's how we get this out. I'm telling you, the people in Chicago are fed up. They need someone to bring all of Illinois together, to bring them together. And I think I'm that person, downstate farmer, and what life's dealt us the last 8 months. I've got the compassion. I've got the wherewithal. I've got the team. We've got the means. And I got the work ethic. And I've certainly stood up and said what needs to be said and did what needs to be done in times when that's happened. So I'm proven. And that's what we need. We need somebody to show up to the governor's office and not forget about the problems of Illinois, not forget about, whatever they talked about in the campaign, and actually get something done. And that's what I intend to bring to the table. And anyone out there that wonders, well, what is your plan? Go to blueprintforillinois.com and you'll see our plan and check us out and join us. And yes, Illinois is a great state, and I believe we will be the catalyst to turning even this nation around when we get our act together.
Okay, so let me say that website, blueprintforillinois.com, and then obviously is there a separate campaign, or is that the new campaign website?
Well, that links you in there, but dailyforillinois.com. That's where you can look at our calendar. You can invite us to events. You can join up as a volunteer, or you can certainly do what's important as well, is donate and keep this machine running. So thank you very much for that.
All right. Thanks. Darren Bailey, nominee for governor of Illinois, Republican nominee. We'll talk to you again soon. Thanks so much, Darren.
Thank you. God bless.
There's a lot of intense news happening, but there's also some good stuff happening. At 7:50 in the News Dump, we'll tell you how some area kids are stepping up to help women in crisis pregnancies. I don't know if you've got lunch plans today, but if you don't, I've got a great suggestion for you. Susie Moore here to talk to you about a place that's great fun and great food from the heart of West County. It's been there for over 20 years. It's Harpo's Chesterfield, the perfect neighborhood bar. They're close, they're convenient. It's got a great sports bar atmosphere. Also has great food. As you know, I am a big fan of the burgers, but every day they've got great food specials. Today being Wednesday, their special is, get this, a 10-ounce strip steak served with your choice of 2 sides for $15. I don't know where else you could even, expect or hope to beat that, but you really can't. You got to go check out Harpo's tomorrow. If you're thinking tomorrow's going to work better for you, well, they've got meatloaf with your choice of 2 sides for $13. And on Friday, beer battered cod served with chips. All kinds of options for you to choose from. Great food, great fun. You can check out their Facebook and Instagram, Harpo's Chesterfield. They've got friendly, energetic staff. They deliver fun, food, and drinks like nobody else. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, make Harpo's Chesterfield your go-to. Visit harposstl.com or check out Harpo's Chesterfield on FB or Insta.
This spring into savings with Johnson Heating and Cooling. Rebates up to $600 off a complete HVAC system. And here's the deal. Purchase a complete system and get a free humidifier. Plus, financing available up to 0% for 60 months. Don't miss out. These offers expire June 30th. Visit johnson-heatingandcooling.com. That's johnson-heatingandcooling.com. Johnson Heating and Cooling. Your comfort, our priority.
1 in 4 women will have an abortion before the age of 45 in this country. That's the tragedy we must work to stop. Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show here, and that is why Reach Reproductive Health is here, to empower parents to save the lives of innocent children and to see these families come to Christ. And you can be a part of saving and changing lives. So pray and visit outreachforlife.org to learn more, volunteer, and donate. That's outreachforlife.org.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA, SIPC.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, the battles over the data centers, not even close to being done. Still being fought all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And they sort of escalated in 2 areas. Well, maybe it's not an escalation in St. Charles City. I think maybe they just ended it there.
Yeah.
But Festus, escalating out there. Also, Samaria Junior High students, as Susie was just alluding to, stand strong for life and for women. This is such a cool story. Also, the Cardinals, man, everybody, myself included, saying, you know what? They're rebuilding. There's always next year. Holy crap, they are ranked number 8 in the MLB power rankings right now.
Not everybody.
Well, Scooter said they were not going to finish in last place. He and I made a bet. Scooter, one of our Democratic listeners. So we've got a $100 bet. If they finish in last place, he's got to donate $100 to the food bank.
Mm-hmm.
If they finish anywhere other than last place, then I'm donating $100 to the food bank, and I am happy to lose that bet. I'm happy to pay it.
Got to give credit where it's due.
We should have at the end of the season or whenever they lock it, we should have the food bank folks in, and I can just personally hand them the donation right there on the spot. Yep. All right, 7:53 right now. Let's go ahead and do another news dump.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
Opponents of a data center project in Festus, they are not done, even though they can claim victory after the last April elections here. After defeating 3 council members who supported the project earlier this year, they have filed 4 recall petitions to oust the mayor and 3 more council members who were not up for election earlier this year. So if the petitions are certified, the recall elections will likely happen in November, and we're going to know in about a week and a half if there are enough signatures to force the recall votes. Jefferson County clerk says it sure looks like they've got them, but they've got up to 10 days, so give them a week or so, and then we'll find out whether that's going to happen, as opposed to just waiting until next April to vote on that. So essentially, they approved the data center deal in Festus last March. Come April, half the city council essentially paid the price politically, and the rest of the elected city government could be up for a recall this year. So they, in 1 year, could turn over their entire elected government in Festus.
And really over a single issue.
Over one issue. Yep. One issue. Shows you how big the issue is.
Yeah.
Also, by a 7-1 vote, the St. Charles City Council passed a permanent ban on data centers and data center construction in the city limits. This follows a recent 1-year moratorium that was already in place. So St. Charles City Council basically just said, all right, we're making our decision. This is it. You want to build them somewhere else. You can't do it here.
I mean, like I said, they listen to their constituents. Yep.
Okay, police are investigating that shooting at the Islamic Center of San Diego as a hate crime. 3 victims are dead, including a security guard, after 2 teenage suspects opened fire outside of the mosque trying to get into the mosque. Authorities found what they call hate speech written on one of the guns, and it looks like there's a manifesto now that's been discovered. FBI San Diego Special Agent in Charge Mark Remley is not saying a lot about the manifesto except to acknowledge that they do have it.
I would reiterate it's early on in the investigation. We are dedicating every resource the FBI has to conduct a thorough analysis of that manifesto to try to learn what led to this, but I think also more importantly, how can we stop future attacks? And
essentially what little we know now is that, yes, the Muslims were targeted, but it wasn't just because they're Muslim. Essentially, these 2 kids, I say kids, 17, 18 years old, who are also dead now. They basically hated everybody who wasn't white, basically is what it was. All right, a pro-life pregnancy resource center on the Illinois side is thanking some junior high students for their support. The 7th and 8th graders at St. Francis Holy Ghost School raised over $21,000 for the Vitality Women's Clinic throughout this school year. This is such a cool story. The students organized several fundraising efforts and entrepreneurial projects over the past 8 months to benefit the clinic and benefit the women that Vitality serves. You can learn more about Vitality at vitalityspeaks.net. Truly one of the coolest stories that we've had.
Amazing.
Yeah, so these junior high kids take it upon themselves, come up with a lot of creative ways, and they just kept at it through the whole year. And they raised, I mean, that $21,000, that's going to go a long way to helping a lot of women and a lot of families and save who knows how many lives. So good on you, kids. Just saying. All right, let's see here. So Cardinals took an extra inning, but the Cardinals win it walk-off style last night. The final score at Busch Stadium was 9-6. Ivan Herrera's 10th inning, 3-run home run made the difference. J.J. Weatherholt, Nolan Gorman, Alec Burleson all had home runs as well. Game 2 of the series starts today at 6:45. So the Redbirds are now in second place in the division. They are only a half game behind the Brewers. Now, remember, the Cubs were in first place like a day ago. So you've got 4 teams that are going to be bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
So they could go from first place to fourth place in the matter of 2 days and then back to first place. Very, very close competitive division.
This year, America turns 250, and NewsTalkSTL is celebrating our nation's semi-quincentennial all year long. NewsTalkSTL, #1 for live and local Soros-free talk, with proud supporters of our 250th birthday celebration. Anthony's Produce, Cole O. Combs, and Heroes Care. 250 years strong, and we're just getting started. 101.9 and 94.1 NewsTalkSTL.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
A Disney cruise is no ordinary vacation. It's an adventure, a fairy tale, a dream. Step aboard and discover where favorite Disney characters meet fun for the whole family, where total rest and relaxation meet the ultimate escape and excitement, where a dream vacation meets a magical cruise. Only on Disney Cruise Line. where magic meets the sea.
Magic Expeditions will make planning your Disney cruise easy. Reach out at magicexpeditions.com.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the NewsTalkSTL app and listen anytime, anywhere. KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is NewsTalkSTL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. President Trump must be whistling a happy tune this morning. The candidates he endorsed in yesterday's primaries did quite well. In Georgia, there will be a runoff between Republican gubernatorial candidate Rick Jackson.
As governor, I'll be like Trump, but with a Southern tone.
And current Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones.
I could not leave this stage without thanking President Donald J. Trump for his undivided. He didn't just endorse me once, not twice, not three times, even a fourth time. I was so honored to have that.
And the winner of the GOP gubernatorial runoff will face former Atlanta Mayor Democrat Keisha Lance Bottoms in the general election, perhaps the highest profile contest, a GOP House race in Kentucky. That's where the Trump-endorsed candidate Ed Galrine beat incumbent Republican Congressman Thomas Massey. There's a desperate struggle against wildfires raging in Southern California. 750 firefighters battling the Sandy Fire. It's burning in the hills above Simi Valley, northwest of L.A.
Firefighters were challenged initially by rapid fire growth in windy conditions. Sadly, we did have one home that we've confirmed has been destroyed. And while that is only one home, it is the home that belonged to the family that lived here for many years, and a tragic loss for that family.
Andrew Dowd with the Ventura County Fire Department. Thousands of homeowners are under evacuation orders. Crews are also fighting a 23-square-mile blaze on Santa Rosa Island. It's off the southern California coast. Lithuanian officials accuse Russia of hijacking and redirecting Ukrainian drones into its airspace to sow chaos and distract from Ukraine's military successes. On Wall Street, ahead of the opening bell, Dow futures 168 points higher, NASDAQ futures up 202 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
When I was feeling the stress of too much credit card debt, I looked at two different options, debt settlement and debt management. They may sound the same, but guess what? They're not. Debt settlement seemed like a quick fix, but I found out it would destroy my credit, create tax headaches, and hit me with huge fees. They actually told me to stop paying my bills. No way, not me. Then I turned to a debt management plan developed by the team at Trinity. They worked with my creditors, lowered my payments, reduced my interest, saved me thousands, and paid off my debt. And Trinity is a Christian company, which is important to me.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers. Once again, temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continue to rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Business owners, download your free playbook for financial clarity at SerenityWealthBiz.com. That's SerenityWealthBiz.com. Let's get real. Here's the truth about eliminating Missouri's income tax.
I'm here with State Representative Bishop Davidson. And Bishop, you've heard the complaints about the proposal. Here's your colleague, Representative Ashley Awney.
Frankly, the only thing that this resolution does is increase sales taxes.
So what does this do and what does it not do if we say yes?
The first part of this constitutional amendment is a constitutional shall. It's a guarantee to the people in Missouri that if they vote for this, that their legislature will enact and shall enact legislation to eliminate income taxes using natural economic growth over time. That means when the economy grows, instead of it going back into the coffers of the state, it goes into the pockets of Missourians. The second part is a constitutional may. It allows the legislature to have a conversation around sales taxes, but only so that they can eliminate income taxes faster and reduce local tax rates like personal property tax and real property.
Get the facts at afpmissouri.com. Mike Ferguson.
Is there anything in your life that is not Trauma Olympics?
Susie Moore.
Get out of here and stop playing victim.
Get up, St. Louis.
There's no crying in baseball.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
You know, Planned Parenthood really does not want us knowing where all the money's going.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. Daily Signal all over this with Fred Lucas, who now is a senior investigative reporter. Fred's covered the White House for such a long time, and he joins us right now. And Fred, the headline just caught my eye, which it's supposed to do. Doge panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood. And among the Planned Parenthoods that you referenced are the ones near us here in St. Louis, Planned Parenthood of Illinois, which has been really, really active because we're looking at basically where is all the money going, and are they just being obstructionist and not wanting the facts to get out there, put aside the actual spending policies? It seems like there's a lot of obstruction to just getting to what's true.
Yeah, this is an inquiry that started last June. So for almost a year now, Planned Parenthood has obstructed, that they've just kind of ignored Congress inquiries about how they're spending federal money and whether it's going to abortions or quote-unquote gender-affirming care for minors. And that is something, the law does not allow for funds to be used that way. For years, and it's kind of been an ongoing issue with Planned Parenthood federal funding as to whether they are just commingling those funds and of course money is always fungible. That Planned Parenthood has always said, well, we use it for other healthcare issues, even though everyone knows they are the nation's largest abortion providers. So that's always been sort of an unbelievable stretch for most people that none of that money has ever gone to abortion.
Right. Well, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, and in this case here, you've got basically a subcommittee from the House Oversight Committee. It's referred to as kind of a Doge thing. So really, you've got a subcommittee that's looking at, okay, let's take those principles that Doge was so hot with for a few minutes, and there's the obstruction, but then there's, like you're referencing, Fred, you're referencing that, wait a minute, we have been told this, but we're getting awful close. We're following the smoke to the fire to find out that no, we are being misled and money could be being used illegally. I mean, how close are we to getting that confirmation? Because I'll tell you right now, the follow-up question is, we've been told Planned Parenthood's been defunded, but that's only temporary. Our tax dollars are about to go back to them, as I understand it.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. The one big beautiful bill that did defund Planned Parenthood, and that was something that President Trump famously delivered on that many other Republicans had only talked about for decades. However, that's about to snap right back into place, and Congress is, as is often the case, maybe more interested in their holiday vacations than really addressing that and ensuring that funding doesn't just snap back into place, because the defunding of Planned Parenthood from the one big beautiful bill that passed last year, that was only for one single budget year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear that just now, Fred, because there was a lot of celebration. Planned Parenthood finally defunded. Tax dollars are not going there. And we must have missed the fine print to say, oh, but they're going to start getting the money again.
Well, right. I mean, every budget process affects 1 year effectively, but yeah. I mean, certainly there was potentially more celebration than warranted for that. But it is a start. I mean, 1 year, that's a start, and that's better than what we've seen in the past.
Okay, so in the digging into where the money's going, and by the way, the article is called Doge Panel. Let's see here. Let me scroll up there, make sure I get it right. Doge Panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood abortion gender treatments. You can find it at dailysignal.com. So basically what we're looking at is 11 separate Planned Parenthood affiliates, including Illinois, right here in the St. Louis area. They've received questionnaires regarding the funding. How much information have they been willing to share with lawmakers, particularly Congressman Burchett?
Nothing really. This is a subcommittee within the House Oversight Committee, and it's called the Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency. So Doge still lives on Capitol Hill, and looking in and conducting these type of investigations. But since June 2025, they have not responded. The initial inquiry was to the main Planned Parenthood, which should have this type of information. The primary national Planned Parenthood and the president, Alex McGill, did not respond. Then the subsequent letters were sent to local affiliates, and they're also just ignoring this. They ignored our inquiry as well, which wasn't a big surprise.
Right.
On this, they did put out a blue sky statement, not on this specifically, but just recently on gender issues. So blue skies is where they usually make their big statements, which is a lot of people know blue sky as being Twitter for crazy people. But I thought what they said was sort of interesting. Planned Parenthood posted on International Day Against Homophobia, Transphobia, Biophobia. We want to be clear: your gender identity is not up for debate. You deserve the right to live freely and fully just as you are. I think maybe both sides might agree that you should live just as you are, but on the gender issue. But that's another story.
Yeah, we got a very different definition of as you are. Exactly.
As you are, right?
Yeah,
as you biologically are.
Yeah, we're live in reality. In other words, we're visiting with Fred Lucas from the Daily Signal. Okay, so what's next? What do we need to be watching? What do we need to potentially be contacting lawmakers and pressuring them regarding this? Because Planned Parenthood, when they have been funded by the federal government all these years, we're not talking about pocket change. We're talking about a significant amount of taxpayer dollars.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we talk. I mean, really hundreds of millions over the decades and so forth. But they say it's for various women's health services. I think the question has always been out there. Aren't there other avenues if you want to fund cervical cancer research and so forth, or examinations for women? There are other places, rural health clinics and so forth, that could do a lot of those services that don't provide abortions. But rather, Democrats have insisted, and basically it's one of their key lobby groups, Democrats have always insisted that money has to go to Planned Parenthood, and that Planned Parenthood can never be defunded. And at the same time, they insist, but this money never goes to abortion.
Yeah, which is nonsense. I mean, other than abortion, you could get every other service that they claim they provide, and many times they don't provide. You can get those at any pregnancy resource center, or you could get those at almost every minute clinic in the pharmacy, much less community clinics as well. I mean, other than abortion, everything that they say that they need to be funded for, it is available in multiple places in almost every community. Right.
I mean, if they want to give a CVS minute clinic, I'm sure CVS would probably be glad to take that federal funding. They probably don't need it, but I mean, this is a Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood makes most of their money from abortion. Most of their, and that's kind of their golden ticket. Always has been. They've expanded into this quote unquote gender affirming care issues of sex changes for minors and so forth. So that's kind of a new area for them, but it's in the same ideological mold.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Once again, Doge Panel turns up heat on Planned Parenthood abortion, gender treatment at dailysignal.com. It was written by Fred Lucas, who is with us right now. Fred, last minute or so that we've got, we've obviously tagged you on our social media as well. You and I did an interview, gosh, it's been a year and a half ago or so, with the book that was out, and that's still relevant today. Remind people where they can find that.
Oh, yeah. Please check it out. The Myth of Voter Suppression, and it is quite relevant among a lot of the issues being debated now with the SAVE Act, voter ID, even redistricting on some level, which I know is affecting Missouri, and I have a story coming out on that here today or tomorrow, actually. Please check out The Myth of Voter Suppression. It's Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you buy books.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've already tagged on social media, so dailysignal.com, I guess, would be the best way to follow your work, just right to the website, right?
Yeah. And you can also follow me on Twitter. Still the same Twitter handle, Fred Lucas WH.
All right. Fred, good to chat with you again. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
All right. And locally here, June 3rd, okay? June 2nd. June 2nd. Don't show up on the 3rd. Nobody will be there. June 2nd. The St. Charles County Primary Executive Debate. This is happening. Bill Eigel, Steve Ellman, Jason Law. They are going to be debating at the Scheidegger Center on Lindenwood University's campus. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, News Talk STL, St. Charles Republican Central Committee. We are all working together, West Magazine as well. We are bringing this to you for free on the evening of June 2nd. Doors are going to open, I think, around 6:30. Tim and Chris are going to be there doing their show from the Scheidegger Center at 4 o'clock, so you can go say hi to them and harass them a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. But we're going to be there as well. Susie and I are going to be on the panel. Jamie Allman's going to be moderator. This is an important discussion for all of St. Charles County. Put it on your calendar. Mark it in your phone. You want to be there on June 2nd. More details at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
I have to tell my kids that I'm a rock star now.
On News Talk STL.
Take the place of what I trust.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli. We're sitting here with our great friend, Chris Cooper. Hi, Chris.
What's going on, Vic? How are you?
I hear you wrote another book. This one's an e-book. Is that right?
The Business Owner's Playbook for Financial Clarity. So it is a great book for entrepreneurs. It's a very short guide. Give people, business owners, the ability to understand key questions that are important, such as succession planning, legacy planning, getting the IRS out of our pockets, right? Because do you like paying taxes?
I do not.
I don't think anybody likes paying taxes, right? That just makes sense. And then always talking about protection. And then the other thing from a business owner perspective, what is the biggest asset a business owner has? Probably their business itself, right? We need to make sure we understand what the value of that business is as well.
So this new book, I'm sure, is incredibly expensive, right? How much?
No, it's a free resource.
Oh, it's free.
We provide guidance, we provide education because we want to make sure people feel educated and understanding because sometimes you don't know what questions to ask, and we need to make sure we help arm people with information to ask the right question.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey guys, don't miss Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. where we talk about so many areas, including AI, law, and health. We have some fantastic guests on my show. Don't forget, Sunday evenings at 8 p.m., Straight Lines with Elizabeth Kaiser.
Stand and fight with Nick Schroer.
Hey, it's Nick Schroer. To preserve this nation, to preserve the experiment in liberty that our founders envisioned, we must take a stand and fight.
Stand and fight with Nick Schroer. Sunday nights at 6.
Only on News Talk STL.
Hey, it's Chris Arps. Becky and I recently discovered a restaurant that's quickly become one of our go-to restaurants, Timothy's in Creve Coeur. Led by executive chef Will Mabry, Timothy's serves contemporary American cuisine with a touch of Southern charm. Dishes like pastrami, smoked lamb, and shrimp and grits. My wife absolutely loved the lobster pot pie, and everything we've tried has been incredible. Amazing house-made desserts and over 500 wines to choose from. Enjoy dinner 7 nights a week, plus lunch, brunch, and private events. Timothy's in Creve Coeur at 12710 Olive Boulevard or online at timothysstl.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
You're gonna go to the record store. You're gonna give them all your money. Radio plays what they want you to hear. Tell me it's cool. I just don't believe it. Sell out with me, oh yeah. Sell out with me tonight. The record companies only give me lots of money and everything's gonna be alright.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10
But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, I'm going to step back into politics for a minute here.
Oh.
8:19 right now. Let me know what you think about this. I mentioned this in one of our earlier kind of news segments. Obviously, a lot of talk about nutrition and health and stuff. RFK Jr. coming in with Maha and all that kind of thing. And I talk about it a lot here just because, I have completely changed how I, eat. And it's made a huge difference in my life over the last several years. And then now I'm working with nutrition stuff and all that kind of stuff. But I saw this this piece come through. It was one of those study finds, basically website that just tracks a bunch of studies that happened. And this happened to be at Duke University. And basically, it's no big secret that we Americans don't eat very well for the most part. No. Most Americans, we're not eating super healthy here. But some of the statistics on this are just kind of stunning. According to this Duke University study, over half of all of the calories that are consumed in America are from ultra-processed, essentially fake foods. Over half. And with kids, it's even higher.
Oh, yeah. There's a reason why childhood obesity and diabetes is constantly on the rise. It's insane. Yeah. We eat, flavor-wise, we eat better than the kings of history, but nutritionally, we are less nutritious than the peasants of the old days. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it is. And so what they found is that the biggest offenders that we tend to eat, and I say we, I mean collectively, so much of this stuff I don't eat anymore.
You're talking about me now.
I'm talking about Americans. I'm just talking about, like, for instance, chips, packaged, chips, packaged breads. I don't eat that much bread anymore. I mean, I eat some, but I don't eat that much. This, I've got to think, is one of the biggest offenders, especially for kids. And RFK Jr. had something to say about this. Now, here's the thing is, like, when it comes to, like, what he's wanting people to adopt as far as nutritionally, I don't have any beef with it at all. I have a personal problem with using government to force it, and basically the government running the what should be the free market. And so that's my disagreement with him. I mean, he's a pretty far left guy, so he likes big government. But as far as like the nutritional aspect of it, he's not wrong on most of what he's saying out there when it comes to the actual foods. I mean, we shouldn't want those, artificial stuff and the preservatives and the, but there are things out there in the market that are available. We just need to take the effort to take responsibility for ourselves to go find them.
Well, and I'm still on the fence about this because on the one hand, I would like to agree with that. I would love for people to be more, nutritionally conscious or literate. But on the other hand, I mean, we know for certain, like, red dyes are terrible for kids. Mm-hmm. We don't allow them to buy alcohol, but we allow them to be sold things that are actually almost in different ways more damaging. So at some point, does it not become something where the government has some responsibility to at least keep kids safe until they're old enough to make their own decisions?
I still think it's a parental.
But the parents aren't parenting.
Yeah,
that's why we have a bunch of fat kids.
Yeah, but the government's about as fat as it gets too. So, but the sugary cereals has got to be one of the top. I mean, it's on the list of like top offenders. I don't remember the last time I had a bowl of cereal. Now there are some out there that aren't that bad, but I grew up eating a bunch of sugary cereals, and even like when I would eat something that wasn't super sugary. What did you do in the 70s and 80s? You took a big thing, a spoonful of sugar, just dumped it everywhere on it. We would do that.
Put sugar on the sugar cereal.
On the sugar-free cereal. That's what I mean. I remember doing that, like with Rice Krispies and Corn Flakes and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, that defeated the purpose. I might as well have gotten some Fruit Loops or something. Looking back, but sugary cereals are like a massive thing. I mean, look at any grocery store aisle. I mean, the sugary cereal is massive. I mean, it's just everywhere. You got a million different things that are just different colors of the same thing, basically. But how about this? Like, this is one where some people could maybe be tricked into thinking they're eating healthier, but they're really not, which is like the flavored yogurts. Mm-hmm. And see, I say that because I've actually got one for lunch, but normally I try to get the Greek yogurt that's unflavored, just plain. And then you just put a little bit of fruit on it. It's just as good, and it's far healthier. It's actually can be very healthy, but they were out, so I just grabbed a little bit to get the protein. But a lot of people think, well, I'm having yogurt, it's healthy. Well, no, it's really processed, sugar-laden stuff.
I actually was surprised as an adult to find it out, but fruit juice is actually just as bad
yeah.
as soda pop in a lot of regards
There-
because it's concentrated and it has all that sugar in it.
Well, and a lot of the fruit. Now, there are some like pure just fruit juice
Yes.
that you can get at places like Whole Foods and Nutrition Stop and places like that. But for the most part, basically what you've got is Kool-Aid.
Yes.
I mean, that's really all it is in a lot of ways. Allison says more food education. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. Absolutely. And then soft drinks. I stopped drinking pop as part of my New Year's resolution, 1999. So starting in the year 2000, I have not had any soft drinks.
So 26 years.
26 years. I've
Wow.
not smartest decision I've ever made for my health.
That's incredible.
Yeah, 26 years. I haven't. I got to tell you, it was not easy because I was drinking so much of soft drinks that I went through a withdrawal. It was ridiculous. I don't know if it was all the caffeine from the soft drinks or whether it was all the sugary additives and all the stuff that my body had gotten used to. But it was not easy. I was drinking way too much of it. Processed meats, and this is another one, like the processed meats, as opposed to getting like the regular, healthy, fresh cuts of meat. And then this is where I also went wrong for years was the microwave meals, the
those are
frozen
horrible for
meals.
you.
Yeah, but thing is, but it's in the green box. It says healthy this or that on it, so it must be healthy. And then it is laden full of just unnatural, fake, artificial crap.
So when I was in sports, making weigh-ins was always a
Yeah.
huge thing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
so my mom would get us lean pockets instead of hot pockets. Turns out they're not all that lean to begin with.
No,
And-
no.
And I also found out, so just because we're talking about good versus bad calories, I found out the same thing applies to fats. I grew up where you wanted the leanest chicken you could get. You wanted the, fat-free this, fat-free that. And it turns out, well, no, there are good fats.
Very good fats. Look
There-
at like avocados and some nuts and things like that. There are
Even
good
beef,
fats.
beef fat,
Yeah.
if it's grass-fed, is actually very nutritious. It's very good for your body in moderation. But then you look at the fat content of like trans fats and saturated fats, and it's just like, what is going on? Why does everything have the bad fats, not the good fats? In it?
TM Harper on Rumble says soda is the devil's underpants. I love. I'm totally stealing that. I'm stealing that. I'm just saying.
Do you do like the seltzer water then? Like those? I don't know, like not LaCroix. But
I don't care for LaCroix. I just don't like the taste of it.
Like the sparkling flavored waters.
Yeah, I used to. The way that I stopped, because here's what I did. When I was at Mizzou and I was at Columbia College, I worked in the Columbia Mall.
Oh.
And I worked real close to the food court, and I was one of the managers, and so I was managed there in the day, and I'd go to school at night for a long time. And one of the things that I would do is I'd go to just one of the restaurants. There was a Taco Bell right there and some others, and you would get the big thing, and of course you got free refills. And so I would drink like 5 or 6 of the jumbo cups like a day.
Man.
It was so stupid. I mean, I was 21 years old. I mean, it was, a lot of people would say I'm still an idiot, but I was really an idiot back then. And I would drink like 5 or 6 of those a day. So what I did was the other restaurant had this thing called Clearly Canadian, which is just like carbonated water with a little bit of fruit flavoring on it. And I would drink that instead of the soft drinks, instead of Pepsi and Coke or whatever. And that's how I kind of stepped down off of it.
I'm sure your kidneys are so thankful.
They are now.
I used to drink a lot of soda. I was a very big Dr. Pepper guy,
Mhm.
and I mean, I've been trying to cut that out because I know the damage it does to you and all that stuff now. But I'm thinking that even at my peak, I was not drinking 5 big gulps a day. I mean, that's incredible.
It was bad. It was really, really, really bad.
Now there is something interesting too because I grew up with a different food pyramid than I think is what's popular now, and apparently the food pyramid is not set in stone, no pun intended. But sugars turns out like actual natural, cane sugars and natural fruit sugars. I mean, still sugar, you want to limit it, but there's a big difference in the way that we metabolize that compared to high fructose corn syrup.
Yeah, and the high fructose corn syrup, and then the processed granular, white sugar. I mean, there are no health benefits. Tasty, but I mean, you can get, sugar like I've got like this crystal rock sugar that's all natural that I'll put in some tea every once in a while. But sugar is the real enemy. I mean, Ryan from Nutrition Stop was in here. He said people are talking about fats and stuff. He goes, sugar's the enemy.
Yeah.
And the thing is a little bit's not going to kill you. You can have a treat for yourself. There's nothing wrong as long as you limit it to that. But the thing is that I switched over a lot of the when I was eating a lot of treats, go get fruit. I mean, seriously, at the grocery store, get the crisp, grapes, and that's as good as anything else. But the bottom line is is that you look at this massive scale, and we're saying 50% plus of the calories being consumed in this country are processed, artificial, unnatural. They're the bad calories, and that's over half of the diet in this country. And then we wonder why healthcare costs are the way that they are. We wonder why, we have the mortality issues that we have. We wonder why we have the diabetes issues we have. We wonder why they have the cardiac issues that we have. When if all of us took more responsibility for ourselves and our family, we don't need government to do it for us, then we could solve a lot of these problems. Listen, I since I have started, and I've obviously, there's been a lot of comments on the weight I've lost. I'm in better shape now. I'm not on any meds anymore. Now, I mean, at my age, I may very well have to go back and do a little blood pressure med, but at the moment, I'm not on any. At my age, that's almost unheard of. I just credit that to eating a lot better.
Counterpoint, though. They're so tasty.
That's true. It's true.
So tasty.
It's true. It's true. 100%. It's absolutely true.
Now, back to the point on maybe government intervention. Allison points out lying labels, though. There are labels where they use these crazy scientific terms to help deceive you or make it sound one way or another.
I've got no argument whatsoever with truth and labeling push. That is a free market issue, is that truth and labeling. I've got no complaint about that part of the push whatsoever, because I don't think that's big government to say you're not allowed to lie, you're not allowed to commit any fraud. That's absolutely consistent with personal responsibility in a free market. Yes, truth and labeling, I'm 100% on board with that.
Okay, so government should be able to say, or at least make it more digestible to the average public, what you're actually putting in your body.
Yeah, and that is a matter of if I'm being lied to, am I being equipped to make my own decision without governmental interference with it? But, truth and, warnings and labeling and whatever the case is, that's not just food, that's anything else as well. But that's part of like a free market concept is that you're not allowed to steal from people. You're not allowed to, obviously defraud people. That's part of a free market. You can't allow that sort of thing. That is a legitimate function of government. I just don't think government should be telling people what they're allowed to eat and what they're not allowed to eat. That's just, to me, if you extend that kind of power, then God knows where it stops from there.
That's fair. Another area that people have the choice is what they're going to send us for Flashback Friday. Because as you know, today is
Bump Day!
And that's the day where we call on you for your best 80s music hits from the 80s to play on Flashback Friday. So this week's theme, I think it's going to be protest songs. Somebody emailed me that, and I'm like, I don't remember there being a lot. Well, I wasn't alive for the 80s, so I wouldn't have remembered. But I don't remember the media portraying as many protests as we have now. So
there were a few. There were a few.
There was some stuff going on in the 80s.
And the funny part is there were some songs that people don't realize were actually protest or like what we would now call like a social cause song. There actually were some out there that people don't realize that's what it was.
So if you were going to go to a protest, or maybe if this was a song that was symbolic of something from the 80s, go ahead and let me know what that song would be. Jerome at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Sell out with me, oh yeah, sell out with me tonight. The record company's gonna give me lots of money and everything's gonna be.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm meteorologist Chance Scotch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking highs a little bit cooler today, back towards the upper 60s. Mostly cloudy skies, then into Thursday, temperatures a couple degrees warmer towards the lower 70s, still looking mostly cloudy. By Friday, things are dry until the evening hours, could be tracking some scattered showers once again. Temperatures into Saturday and this coming weekend ahead going to continue to rise back towards the lower 80s, still seeing some isolated chances of showers and storms each day, but a lot of dry time still mixed back in for the weekend. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Scott.
Fox News commentary with Jimmy Thela next.
My doctor said I could use something called a biosimilar. Then she told me what it is.
A biosimilar is a type of biologic medication. Just like brand name drugs have generic versions, original biologics can have biosimilars.
So I asked what the benefits are and if they work the same.
Biosimilars have the same safety, effectiveness, and quality as the original biologic. They also offer more medication options at potentially more competitive prices.
My doctor said I could learn more at fda.gov/biosimilars.
Here's Jimmy Thela.
We're thriving at a time when other countries aren't. As mad as we are about gas, if you had just a second to wrap your head around what they're dealing with in terms of jobs, in terms of scarcity of goods, in terms of the economy, in terms of all of the setbacks other economies are dealing with right now at a time when America is roaring, give or take the price of gas. But that's a solvable issue that we can solve ourselves. The other countries don't have the luxury of doing that. One of the reasons we have state governments that can rip off the taxpayer by offering them free things that other people pay for is we are the richest country in the world. But my point is, you don't stay that way. With the government trying to solve problems in the name of pretend empathy, but in the process spending 4 times as much on the problem as we could have just did it in the private sector.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Tim Jones here to introduce you to your new favorite roofing company, Corel Roofing. There were 4 major storms last year. Did your roof take a hit? Do you even know? Most homeowner insurance policies require claims to be filed within 1 year, so time's running out for a closer look. At Corel Roofing Company, you get a local roofing specialist who will advocate for you every step of the way. Give yourself peace of mind. Schedule your roof inspection today with Corel Roofing at CorelRoofingCo.com. That's CorelRoofingCo.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Looking for a hardware store that treats you like family? Welcome to True Value Schneider's Hardware, your local gem in Old Town St. Peters. For over 100 years, we're proudly serve you St. Charles County, providing everything from lawn and garden supplies to plumbing and electrical. Need a bolt or fastener? We've got you covered. And don't forget, we're a steel dealership. Whether you need sales, parts, or service, ask for Charlie or Jerry when you come in. We're here to help. Call 636-278-4461 or visit us online at truevalue.com/Schneiders.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
It's about time somebody stood up for true American values.
What this country needs is some backbone.
Finally, a president who wants to make real change.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Just saw one of the TV channels here talking about where are the most affordable places in America to buy a home, and number 1 was Flint, Michigan.
Imagine that.
You think?
Oh, no.
It just doesn't come with water that you can drink.
I don't envision that being a very booming college town either.
I think that they actually got a lot of that water stuff fixed, or some of it fixed. Remember, at one point, basically none of the water in their water system was drinkable. None of it. None. I mean, they had such a horrendous collapse, and Flint, Michigan was run so badly that you couldn't even drink their water.
It was like brown water.
Yeah,
it was literally brown. No, I do remember that. I can't remember if I was in high school and college at the time, but we did do this big fundraising type thing to help send them water bottles and stuff like that to some of these families. It was
and that
crazy.
was up to even just a few years ago, because I remember I actually, in one of my ball tournaments, I actually played against a team from Flint, Michigan. And where was I playing? I think I was playing them either in, I don't know, it was either Alabama or Florida. I think it was a Florida tournament I was in. And I remember cracking the joke. I'm like, guys, we got a really good chance to win this game. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't know anything about Flint, Michigan, but I'm pretty sure those guys are dehydrated,
Oh, man.
And
really?
they were like, really, dude? Seriously? I'm like, because this was in the peak of thing. I'm like, yes, I have bad taste when I make some of these jokes. I mean, we did whoop them, just saying.
Ha ha, they have heavy metals in their bodies.
Well,
we can whip them.
They ran up against a baseball team from St. Louis.
Real nice, Mike.
Yeah.
Real classy.
Just saying it was. But yeah, so yeah, it's like, great, you get a great deal, but do you? Really? Do you?
Well, I mean, they're speaking about the pricing of the real estate, not the quality of life.
Right. That's what they're doing. And St. Louis was around 115 in the entire nation as far as affordable homes. Now, if you get into just the city, they're much higher. They would be much higher up on the list because what's happening is the real estate is becoming far more valuable in Jefferson County. St. Louis County, my understanding is it's going up, but not to the rate that Jefferson County and St. Charles County are going up. Warren County, Lincoln County has got a lot of people moving, even because St. Charles County, there is such a momentum and such a trend in St. Charles County of basically government and community there saying, we have enough, we don't want a bunch of new development. Well, people are wanting to get out of St. Louis County and they're wanting to get out of the city still. So if they're not allowed to build starter homes or you're not allowed to build apartments or condos, well, they're looking up beyond that. And I was talking, we were talking with at the time was the mayor of Troy when we were up there doing our show from Whistle Pig Outdoors. And he said, he goes, the entire Lincoln County area in this corridor up there, he said, we're getting all kinds of, developers wanting to come in and build neighborhoods and things like that. And so they're in the process of basically managing how the growth is going to go. But that's how the St. Louis metro area geographically is. I don't know that it's going to change population wise, but it's definitely going to spread out because we think of the metro. We've thought of St. Louis, the immediate east side. The city, the immediate east side, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, and then maybe to some degree Jefferson County. Well, now it's definitely Jefferson County. It's also Warren County. It's also Lincoln County. It's all these areas that aren't just part of the region. They're going to be the actual metro as well, and we need to be thinking of it that way because at one point we're like, well, the metro goes out to West County, meaning St. Louis County. Well, no, it goes out farther than that. It goes to Warren County. It goes to all of these areas because that's just how we're spreading. So think of it as kind of spreading out the population, which is great. If you're a local business, it makes it a little trickier as to where you're going to put your location if it's an in-person type of business.
Yeah.
So.
Well, maybe that's where the data centers come in.
Yeah.
Or we send them to Flint. I don't think the water needs to be drinkable to cool this.
No, you don't have to have drinkable water to cool things. Yeah, and the data center thing is, it was in the headlines 2 times over, and I'll have the stories in the news up here in just a little bit. But essentially, what's happening in Festus is really interesting because I've been elected to office before, and people usually don't show up to check in on the hired help at City Hall unless they're mad about something. Nobody shows up to a meeting most of the time to go, hey, the street's paved just fine. We don't have any cracks in the sidewalk. We just want to go out of our way to tell you good job. That doesn't happen. People show up when there's a problem or they need something fixed.
Yes.
That or they've got a complaint about something. That's when people engage with City Hall. Unfortunately, but that's typically what happens. And what's happening in Festus is the one issue, this massive data center deal that was approved, at least the current part of it was approved in March of this year. And come April, every single member of the city council who was up for election got tossed. And it was all over the data center thing. And one of them, I don't even think supported it, but they were just throw them all out in kind of a throw them all out mood. Well, that leaves 3 other members of the council and the mayor who were not up for election this year. So now you've got recall petitions that have been circulated and filed with the Jefferson County clerk. And so the Jefferson County clerk has told Channel 2 and Channel 4, quoted as saying, we think they've got enough signatures to put this on the ballot. But the city clerk by law has 10 days to verify all of those, which should not be that big of a problem. And so the county clerk went as far as to say, if this is validated, if this is, confirmed that they have enough signatures, she prefers that this election happen in November as opposed to August, which that's fine. I think it's a smart move. So you're looking at possibly in 1 year, the entire elected city government of Festus being turned over by voter initiative.
That's how you do it.
I mean, that's a lot of organization, and that's a lot of effort. Now you can, and if you're pro data center on there, you're obviously mad about it. But this doesn't happen very often. If this happens, and they could have a recall vote, and somebody stays in office. I mean, that could happen. But it is possible, based on the last election, that it's possible voters are going to turn over the entire city government.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to say absolutely. I don't live in Festus, so I don't know if that's going to be good or bad for them. But I do think that does speak volumes to the fact that imagine how much better so many communities would be when they elect somebody, the person, let's say Tara Jones, for example, just off the top of my head, and their policies are clearly harming the community. If the community said, you know what, like we don't actually have to put up with this for her entire term, let's get her out of here. I mean, I do like to see communities able to come together and do something productive and remind government, you work for us, and if you're going to go against what we want, then this is the consequence.
Yeah, because, I mean, a lot of times it's, okay, you just wait till the next election. We're going to run somebody against you, and that's what happens, which is absolutely valid. And in this case, though, right now, there are enough people that recalls are not easy to do.
No.
At all. So it's going to be fascinating to see what we have.
Now, we do have a question about some data center stuff coming from our good friend Dave.
Hey, Dave, you're on News Talk STL. What do you think?
Mike, good morning. Here's the question that I have at the data centers. Why are they so bad? And if they're so good, why is the government so willing to give them tax breaks? Now, this is what I thought about on tax breaks, guys. Okay, give them a tax break, but don't make it a 10 consecutive year tax break. Make it every, on the even years, you pay taxes. On the odd years, you get the tax break. That way, they're getting a little. The people are getting a little. But as far as anything like they need infrastructure taken care of, okay, well, that's part of stuff that you're going to need, whether somebody builds a subdivision or whatever. But if they want you to foot the bill because they want to do this, that, or the other, again, good for the people in Festus. They voted these morons out. This would need to be done more. But what do you think about me? If you're going to give a tax break, you do it an alternating year. That way, everybody's getting a little of something.
I can tell you why it doesn't happen, Dave, and that is because what happens is these developers, and they come to whatever city you're in, and we had it when I was in office too, and it was like, you know what, if you don't do this, they're going to give it to us, and you're going to lose out on the jobs, and you're going to lose out on the revenue. So you can give us a little bit up front, and then you'll get a lot more later. And basically what they do is they pit communities against each other to secure the corporate welfare. And so what makes sense is out the window, because city managers and mayors and city council critters and alder critters, they all want to have their picture in the weekly newspaper at the ribbon cutting, bragging about 100 jobs coming to town. That's why it doesn't happen.
Well, hey, one final thing. Have you ever heard a politician that would inspire you to jump off a bridge better than Sam Page?
Short answer is no. Oh my goodness.
I mean, look, Joe Biden was a moron, but Sam Page makes him look like he's Phi Theta Kappa. Wow. These ribbon cuttings, I hear Sam Page. Can you believe this guy's an anesthesiologist? I wouldn't let him pull an ingrown hair.
No, without a doubt. Dave, thanks so much for the call. That was like one of my recurring nightmares. At some point, it's like, I've got to go in for surgery, and, Kimberly Gardner is the nurse and Sam Page is the anesthesiologist.
Oh, no.
What an awful situation. No.
That would be a true nightmare. Holy cow.
Oh my goodness. And oh man, no. But as far as the data centers thing, I think there are absolutely legitimate worries about them that need to be addressed, because data centers are not necessarily a new thing, but with the unbelievable, like, hockey stick style increase in the usage of the cloud and everything that's going digital as opposed to being on paper, is that we basically can't build them fast enough at this point to keep up with the online demand. But there are concerns about noise pollution. There are concerns about energy consumption and the drag on a grid. And the water thing as well. I mean, the water thing could be done with, you could do that if they're basically required to build their own tanks and things like that and reuse the water. So it's possible. I think the problem is that when we don't have all the answers, we tend to fill it in with information, and then that allows fear to be a contagion, and you take a real concern, and before you know it, you got a boogeyman that doesn't exist. But that doesn't discount from the actual things that need to be answered and need to be safeguarded. So what we've got is something new still to a lot of people, and they don't understand it, and they're being told, trust us, and people aren't trusting government as much as government would like.
Well, and the scale of these too are some of these are huge,
Oh,
massive
massive.
things. It's like, well, we could have probably put some starter homes there, or maybe developed that into a better, agricultural land. But
You could do that, and then the tax revenue off that would be nothing compared to what you're getting from the data centers. Because I'm telling you, city council members and city managers, they're looking at the numbers of revenue that would come in on this, and they're thinking, we could build that park, we could build a new fire station, we could do all this, and that's therein lies the rub.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
I just want to say to the men of this country, just shut up and step up.
on News Talk STL.
Rhino Shield is engineered to outlast paint, formulated to outsmart the elements. Rain or shine, sleet or snow, mold or mildew. Our home exterior coatings intelligently designed to stand up to Mother Nature. Call 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
Democracy is loud, and on Tuesday, June 2nd, you can be right in the middle of it. News Talk STL is bringing the St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate to Lindenwood University in St. Charles at the J. Scheidegger Center for the Arts. No reservations, no tickets, just show up. Can't make it in person? Catch every word live on News Talk STL from 7 to 8:30 p.m. The St. Charles County Executive Primary Debate on June 2nd. Brought to you by the St. Charles County Republican Central Committee, Mid-Rivers News Magazine, Lewis & Clark's Pachyderms Club, and the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Perjury is not a thing anymore if you are testifying against Donald Trump.
Right, but they're under oath.
So was Cassidy Hutchinson.
You're right. No,
Cassidy Hutchinson was under oath.
No, you're right.
Saying
and she
that
lied.
Donald Trump grabbed the wheel of the beast when she wasn't even in the car. It was hearsay to begin with, and nothing happened to her. Nothing happened to Liz Cheney, who coached her.
You're learning my cynicism from me.
That's right. That's right.
Vic Porcelli, live and local, weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Looking for unbelievable deals? Stop by Overstock Outlet in Lake St. Louis or Warrenton. Open 7 days a week. Discover big savings on a huge variety of merchandise with no hassle. Just great prices. Visit us in Lake St. Louis on Highway N or in Warrenton on Boones Lake. Check out our Facebook page at Overstock Outlet Lake St. Louis. Or go online to OverstockOutletSTL.com. Unbeatable value, friendly service, and you never know what we'll have at Overstock Outlet.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
So I sit out in the yard with Sally Bones, and we have all these trees in the backyard, and we give them some CO2. The executive director of the CO2 Coalition, Gregory Wrightstone, will join us Wednesday at 10:41.
Weekday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
All right, obviously the data center thing is huge. We didn't even talk about St. Charles. I'll give you an update of what's happening in St. Charles. They made a decision on data centers in the city of St. Charles. We'll get to that in just a second. Boy, the Cardinals' momentum is continuing. They are, by the MLB Power Rankings, they're number 10, or no, excuse me, number 8 right now. Number 8 in all of baseball, which, by the way, the National League Central Division that the Cardinals are in, that was not expected to be exactly a power division, but the Cubs and the Brewers also in those power rankings. It's one of the toughest divisions in all of baseball, and nobody really saw that coming.
I made a joke about not consulting you for sports betting advice, and Caporal Being says that from now on you'll be known as the Jim Cramer of baseball.
See, that's rough. That's rough.
Okay, but yeah, you said they were going to be last place.
I did.
I put my life savings on that.
I mean, well, and see, the thing is, with the Cardinals, I absolutely said, this looks like, I see what the new boss is doing. I just didn't see anything happening this year. But this team just refuses to lose. That's the thing about baseball, or any sport really, that there is that human element. That you've got a team, and in that clubhouse, that they heard all the predictions. I mean, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, you can go to all of them. All of them do their preseason rankings. Baseball Today, they all predicted the Cardinals to finish in last place. Now, don't get me wrong, there could still be plenty of things that happen. But I just kind of looked at the team and went, that looks about right. But I'm like, don't give up. The least they're trying this year, and I was still hoping people would support the team, and they are. But these guys, you know that they heard that in the locker room, and they're like, we're going to show them, and they're showing us.
Yes.
They just are. All right, 8:53. Let's do one more news dump here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by STL Fenceworks. The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the Morning News Dump.
All right, real quick note on data centers. By a 7-1 vote, the St. Charles City Council passing a permanent ban on data centers within city limits.
Ooh.
Yeah, because there was already a moratorium in place. They did a 1-year moratorium because people were pretty fired up because there were some proposals for a data center to be put, somewhere in the city, because there are parts of St. Charles City that are still undeveloped enough that you could put something industrial in, and people, stood up and started speaking and started pushing back. And so the city council said, all right, moratorium for a year, because there were some initial plans to get one. We saw all of that. And they said, we'll take a year. Everybody simmer down. Let's go through this with cooler heads and figure it out, which is, by the way, a good approach to do it. And so they decided last night to just end the discussion. No. The answer is no. So I'm sure everybody got on their phones and they were tweeting and emailing and stuff, which all goes through a data center somewhere. So these things have to go somewhere. If you're going to be online at all, you're using data centers. Just nobody seems to want them in their backyard.
Just put them in Wyoming. Nothing's going on out there. There's like 10 people in the state. They'll be fine.
There it is. Okay, let's do an update on this attack in San Diego on the Islamic Center. 3 people dead, including a security guard, after 2 teenage gunmen opened fire attacking the Islamic Center and the mosque. Authorities are describing what they found written on the guns, which is a bunch of swastikas and white supremacy type stuff. FBI San Diego Special Agent in charge, Mark Remley, telling reporters that they also found a manifesto as well. And he's not disclosing a lot of the details, but he is acknowledging they do have it.
I would reiterate it's early on in the investigation. We are dedicating every resource the FBI has to conduct a thorough analysis of that manifesto to try to learn what led to this, but I think also more importantly, how can we stop future attacks?
And the 2 gunmen, 17 and 18 years old, they're both dead, self-inflicted gunshot wounds. There's an article at RedState.com that shows screenshots of what's purported to be that manifesto. Basically, what you've got are two young men who were radicalized online, is what the working theory is right now. Really got into, did they target the center because it was an Islamic center? Yes, but it wasn't just at them. Apparently, they hated everybody who's not white, and there was a tremendous amount of anti-Semitism, very, anti basically any sort of legal or illegal immigration. Basically, just a very, very white nationalist sort of thing by definition.
Now, do these sickos think people actually care about their manifestos? I mean, if you're going to take all this time and effort into putting words on paper, why don't you write a book or something?
75 pages or 74 pages. And yes, they were talking in their couple screenshots of when people read this and they thought they were going to be, the big game changers. They wanted to start a race war, basically.
Just in case anybody out there would ever consider, nobody cares about your stupid thoughts. Right. Write a Tom Clancy novel or something.
Yeah, go get a Substack. All right, but let's end on some good news here. A pro-life pregnancy resource center on the Illinois side is thanking some junior high students for their support. So get this. The 7th and 8th graders at St. Francis Holy Ghost School raised over $21,000 for the Vitality Women's Clinic throughout this past school year, or the past 8 months. Yeah, the students organized several fundraising efforts. They just kept going at it, something new, and some entrepreneurial projects. So they put some business sense into this, and they benefit the clinic with that $21,000 plus, benefiting the clinic, benefiting the women's they serve, benefiting that community, benefiting the dads, and most importantly, benefiting the lives that are going to be born because these kids helped carry some of that load.
Fantastic.
You can learn more about Vitality at vitalityspeaks.net. Way to go, kids. That's awesome. Great job. One of my favorite stories this week.